think the stream is going good. I have Discord all set up. Seeing 3 variations of my own mouse cursor. Sounds like Elite Dangerous. Alright, so we are starting a tad late on the jump timer because a few people that were joining were a little bit behind. But that isn't a big deal because there's more than enough stuff for me to babble about while we wait on this thing to cook up. while we're at it, how about we store these modular terminals and not be in this ship for the event. Oops. Eagle or dolphin? I already did one of these in my dolphin, so do this in our eagle. We are 2 minutes on my clock until we start. Discord loose for a minute, so
Right.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you are.
Let's see.
Some epic elevator music you got playing there, Alwan.
Yep. Hey, nice nice cue on that, whoever is smashing into the metal filaments on the carrier there. Fusang is quite the interesting little area. Originally an area where I based myself out of for a long while, but there are a lot of listening posts and a lot of stories in around here. I think the closest one regards to a group of people who were kidnapping civilians, putting them unconscious, then cutting them open and putting whatever contraband, drugs, hidden tech, special stuff, putting them in the civilians, zipping them back up, doping them with some sort of drug upon awakening, and basically telling them, you're gonna go here, here, and here, and this is because you want to. And the people would go there. They'd send them off. They wouldn't ask any questions because of the brainwashing drug or whatever. And they would send them off. And they would come into contact with another group on the other end, whoever was the people that they were going to receive the stuff. And they were put back unconscious, killed, and then cut open for the contraband on the other side. I don't remember a closing ever being found to that story. It ended with one of the main protagonists, if you will, of the story, she went undercover there. She had to put herself in one of the pods, skeek pods, but it never fired, and she was locked in there. So when you get there, she asks you to take her to the other end area, but I don't know if anything was ever followed up on that. But yeah, Fusang has some dark, questionable areas about it. So, we are 10 minutes till. We're about 2 minutes over actually starting. I'm gonna give it about 2-3 more minutes, since we're just a little over, and then we'll get going for good.
Who's bouncing their crate on the pad?
Yeah, I
12?
just
Those are two NPCs. The T6 refuses to launch, and your carrier keeps assigning pads to other NPCs and people.
I like the stream music with this. If you watch the stream, it's extremely dramatic. Will the Crate Mark II ever dock? Will the game ever get its code rewritten? Tune in next season. Can the T6 not even leave? Yeah, I don't think it can leave. It can't go up, you're right. It just keeps assigning.
Lockdown will solve this.
Yes.
T6 is going on a journey with us.
So I just realized there's probably not going to be a small landing pad for me when I get there. I'm going to be eating up a large in a small ship.
I can clear. Well, can I clear one if I go in?
No.
That's alright.
Can you log
you're-
out?
You'll be under the pad, you'd have to log out.
There's like 4 large pads. You'll be fine.
Well, I'm going to dim down the music, and I'll go ahead and start with the preliminaries.
Ship I'm in does not have.
Don't know if any of you heard that because I just realized I was still muted on here.
I have a 1A scoop.
I'm gonna go ahead and we'll just start with the preliminaries as this thing is about to jump. What time are we on, Scrapples? For jumping?
6:20.
6:20? Okay. Alright. So let's pull up our sheet here because even I need to have things written down because it has been so long for this particular story. So the Black Flight, we can go ahead, turn this up, this down, this over here. Who are they and what the hell do they want? The Black Flight is a story that starts off from 3301 around October. It actually starts with the construction of Obsidian Orbital, which was the first starport to feature anybody outside of the game narrating it, and it was quite a big deal. It was one of the the first expansions out into the Pleiades. There hadn't really been any. There was no starports. There was nothing out there. It was just a nebula, very much similar to the California nebula, where the Alliance eventually pushed out and made their footing over there. I remember being around for the construction of Obsidian Orbital. It was a really big CG, and we had huge blockades of people. We had pirates and all sorts of stuff. I believe it went on a little extra than intended because we had missed some goals and we had some strife getting things done. A lot of PvP, code were there, but even the people who wanted to pirate from the station's CG or pirating and then selling that stuff to the CG to continue the construction. So it became a little bit of a cluster. But as far as how the Black Flight get involved, just after the construction of Obsidian Orbital, it was the first station to be hit with an enzyme-ushered technological timeout, if you will. It was the first station to experience the Thargoid technological interference, which is the nature of the UAs, the UPs, and the links. Now the Thargoid sensor, Thargoid probe. When sold, you would have your commodities market. Everything would basically shut down at the commodities market. This, I believe, stopped about 2 years ago, but it went on for a really long time. It became a huge problem. But Obsidian Orbital was the first one to experience it. And after all that time of getting things set up, the first expansion out into a nebula, everyone was excited. The station went on the fritz about a week later because people were selling this unknown tech they didn't know anything about. The Black Flight get involved where it all starts with a Galnet article. And the Galnet article in question, which I have here, let's see, check the time. We have 5 minutes to lockdown. So the Galnet article in question goes as follows. Galnet News, unidentified spacecraft observed at Obsidian Orbital. Yeah, thanks, Yumi. My carrier just screeched as I'm trying to read to you guys. Speculation is rife at the Obsidian Orbital starport this morning following a close-quarters encounter with an unidentified Diamondback explorer. According to Chloe Anders, a member of the surveillance team at Christian Dock, the mysterious vessel came within 10 kilometers of the station while performing what was described as a high-speed pass. I saw it approach and assumed it was about to submit a docking request, but instead, it just started circling around the station. It had an unusual design and insignia, S6:7. So I tried hailing the thing, and there was no response. Then our sensors lit up, and I couldn't believe it. The damn thing was scanning the entire station somehow, a manifest scan. I told the weapons team to stand by, but the next thing I knew, it was gone. End quote. After her opinion of the vessel was proposed, Anders said, I know it sounds crazy, but when I saw it circling the station like that, the only things I could think of was that it was looking for something. So the first thing we hear of the Black Flight, they weren't even called the Black Flight at this point. All we knew of them as were the S6, basically. They were designated ships, all jet black, largely Diamondback explorers, sometimes different variations. You would have ASPs or sometimes T9s later down the line, but they were really all DBXs. All with the S6 insignia. These were jet black ships, nothing else marked on them, and no one knew a thing about them. I believe, now this could be potentially scrupulous or not because this is a while ago and a lot of different people were saying a lot of different things, but I believe that people actually saw some Diamondbacks in-game actually appearing, and from there on, people got really hyped, really excited, really confused. Yeah, I know I muted Discord. Were you guys not listening through the stream for that bit? So I had to mute because I was hearing a bunch of people's background for a minute there. We're about to jump, so I'll wait till the jump goes and I'll continue in a second.
Counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ready? If you guys are wanting to mute the stream, you're more than welcome. don't even know if anyone was talking. I think I was getting some background clicking and chattering from one of you guys. Don't know who it was.
That's fine. It just took me a second to remember I had the stream muted. So when you muted here, I was like, what? What happened?
So once we come out here, everyone just can raise up on the pad or undock if they want, but I'm still going to be babbling for a minute. I can do a minor recap for those that weren't paying attention to the stream.
Sounds good.
I'll hop out. I came with the carrier this time, guys. It's amazing. I shouldn't speak too quickly. Actually, let's launch and see if. Yeah, okay, I'm here. Worrisome. Love the sound of everyone's pad unlocking. So yeah, everyone can stay docked if they like.
Please watch for traffic
I'll
during
get
departure.
a camera on you guys and we'll back up here. So you'll notice with this event as time goes on through the night, if you pay attention to the galaxy map, that we'll be very slowly advancing towards the Pleiades over time here. And that point is kind of crucial to some more of the story later on in. But to recap really shortly, for anyone who might have had the stream muted, all I said in a slightly elongated detail was that the Black Flight story all starts with Obsidian Orbital and its construction. This is 3301 in October. And once the Obsidian Orbital was constructed, it was the first station hit by the station interference, where stations would shut down, which was really, really annoying because, you know, this was our first push out into bringing humanity out to another location. You know, we didn't have any footholds in any of the other nebula around the area, so it was really cool. It was also going to be voiced by Obsidian Ant, so everyone was thrilled. And then it got hit by UA bombing, and from there it was a long while until we heard anything else. It was about I would say maybe 3 weeks, and then we got our first Galnet article that talked of a unknown ship, completely jet black, with the S6 insignia on the side, and somehow it manifest scanned the entire station. I'm not sure if they have slightly higher tech than we do, but they manifest scanned an entire station, and that seemed to be a surprise to the people in the Galnet article as well. So that was clearly not average tech at the time. Solely after the Pleiades had been colonized with a first real station with Obsidian Orbital, we started getting other contractors coming out to the area to, well, really work on expansion. Obsidian Orbital came out, and it really couldn't support itself as far as the story goes. It really couldn't support itself on its own, just being out here this far away. And everyone was so invested in the area that, well, other groups in the Lour wanted to come out, explore, and put their footholds out here. Not long after that, we ended up navigating around the Pleiades, a lot more traffic, and interestingly enough, that was when we started finding more listening posts. We have no idea how long these listening posts were out, but the only mention of the Black Flight ever was really just set in that one Galnet article, and we didn't know them as the Black Flight up until this point. So this would be the first ever listening post that we got following up that particular Galnet story. And down, if you look into your nav panel, hell, there's a station right here, and that wasn't there before. If you look into your nav panel and you lock on A7, we're slightly outside of the range that we will be able to pick up the listening posts, but A7 is where we're heading. So we can hop out into Super, and I can give more backlog along the way. There's no real reason to be winged up with anyone if you don't want, because, you know, everything tonight is going to be fixed points that you'll be able to see yourself, so we don't have to worry about instancing. Here we are. So, what else was going on around this time? It takes me a minute to stop and remember this particular preliminary stuff because I've been playing the game so long that a lot of memories flood back, and sometimes I'll get actual player stories mixed in with the real thing, since there were still player stories being issued in Galnet at the time. But, let's see. Got all my writings here. I really can't say too much else until we get into this listening post and the place it leads you after. But if anyone has any extra questions about kind of the first expansion out to here, or what that was like, you're more than welcome to. I'll pull the stream chat back up too. There we go. Got our listening post. Yeah, Obsidian Orbital about 4 years ago now. Well, going on 5 years ago. Pretty wacky that it's been this long since the station has actually been built. So along that time when Obsidian Orbital was being constructed, you had all kinds of other groups kind of vying for power out here. People wanted to come and set foot in a completely new area, and especially if it was going to be for a political reason, everyone was all about it. Was it Olabrains that? No, it was just people. It was just average people. I mean, people were at that point, people were starting to get UAs pretty rapidly, and people were just they were a lot of money. You know, they're what, 400,000 credits at the time, and if you could stack them, you were making a decent amount. Which didn't involve combat. It was something different. It was salvage, so, you know, people weren't used to it, and it was exciting to be able to spend money or make money on a new part of the game with salvage that we hadn't had, especially Xeno salvage. Olabrains.
That's unknown artifact, right?
Yeah, that would be unknown artifact. UAs are unknown artifact, UPs are unknown probe, and ULs are unknown links. This was before they were rebranded. You guys are quite new to that era, I forget. There's no voice log here, so everyone can just hop in and take a scan, and once the general populace gets here, a couple more in instance, I can finish. There we go. So up until this point, we have Obsidian Orbital, we have the Federation and the Empire kind of vying for this area that everyone kind of wants to move into, without giving exact reasons really why around that time period, which will make sense further into the story, but a little light on what I can say about the Black Flight right now until everyone gets here and reads this. On a side note, we have a Diamondback Explorer. It is not the Black Flight, and it's dead. Alrighty.
Asshole shooting me as soon as I jumped in.
I was really waiting for that to be the first Black Flight. I was like, well, and there you go, guys. That was Black Flight. Everyone at home. So I think a good enough amount of people are here. we can all take a moment and read it. And then I'll give a verbal over the stream. So up until this point, we found this particular listening post haphazardly, as most listening posts are found. There were a set of 3 initial ones, but we're only going to go to this one as a preliminary, and then we'll go to the rest with rest of the areas they talk about without having to visit their listening post. But this gives some interesting foreshadowing because it was the first one we'd ever heard of. So it reads, Black Flight 22 to command, tracking the survey vessel Pandora as instructed. So far, nothing to report. Site is still secure. Looks like their mission registration was for mineable locations and planetary rings, not planet-side surveying. We'll continue to track the target through HIP 2147.8.22 out. So, we are not very far from where that talks about. If you want to throw that into your nav panel, galaxy map, you are more than welcome. I have it hidden away as a copy and paste, so I am forgetful. And we can give a little information as we go along the way. Once we get to this next spot, I'll be able to open up and talk a bit more, but so I don't know what type of jumps it is for you, but it's 3 jumps for me because I chose a little rinky dinkster. You guys can lag behind if you like. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the jumps. So from that listening post, we gather a unknown group name. We gather that they are tracking mining vessels, and they note that the survey team weren't tracking anything surface side, which is very, very important to them down the line. It's never really revealed who these guys work for, but further into Galnet articles that you wouldn't be able to, know about unless you were around that time and or went through the history of the Galnet community, articles that they have on their main website. You wouldn't know, but suspected ties to the Federation, but it's still never fully mentioned who these guys really actually work for. And at this point in the history that we're going down, they're just another name. And Elite is famous for having, tons of nefarious groups. If you watch Drew Wager's Lour tour, it's just constant, so this group name is they're another nefarious, interesting group who, everyone's pretty dark in the Elite universe. We haven't nor will we change very much as the human race goes on, which when Braven likes to tell a story, I think is pretty reasonable, because it's kind of how we always behave. So when I get there, you guys should already see what we're looking at in question. We're going to be going to A1F, which is first body, and then a moon. To which I do not have the system chart, so I'm going to meander my way over there. It is 3,200 light seconds out, so everybody get your light speed hats on. I know some of you do not like long, long flights. I'll scoop a sec while you guys are heading down there. Scrabbles, are you in a wing?
I am not.
Why don't you throw me an invite and turn your beacon on so I can get there just a little sooner?
I don't have the map for the system either.
That's okay. It's alright. Don't need the map. Just open up your system app and it's A1 F. So first gas giant on the first star, and then the final moon at the bottom would be F. So for anybody wanting to follow along on the stream, this is where we are right now. If you can't see the little rinky-dink UI on the left in game. So from here on, I don't believe we found. I believe we found the first two listening posts right together. And since we're passing that one over, most of the first bits you would get out of the listening posts were about the Black Flight tracking different contractors that were coming out here, and they wouldn't, say why. They wouldn't say what they were tracking it for. They were just keeping an eye on any civilians, any workers, anyone who's out here was fair game for them to follow up behind. Let's make sure. Yeah, that's good. Alright, I'm in range now. So we're at the Survey Vessel Pandora, which was the same designation that they talked about in the listening post. So when we get in here, this has voice logs, and what would be nice is if everyone take their time Googling at the site and go ahead, data link scan the vessel, and once you're done with that, grab up all the logs, but don't listen to them yet. We're going to try and time everyone listening to them together, not because we all need to hold hands, but in case someone gets excited and wants to ask a question and someone else hasn't listened. So I'll be playing them as well on the stream myself, so you can keep tabs on the stream visually when I'm done, and then we can go from there. What did you end up bringing, Scrabbles? I don't see you.
My AX crate.
Are you already dropped out?
Just did.
Thank you, sir. Maybe not. Yeah, here we are. And here we are. So, this is the survey vessel Pandora. It's about close to 4 years old, completely defunct. always with the habitation ring still running. Interestingly enough, I never fully understand. Inertia will decay at some point, but it's elite.
They have really good bearings.
Yes. Very, very good bearings. I don't remember how many voice logs this one is. I think it's 4, 5. Everyone be mindful, including the anacondas, of getting caught in those rings and stopping, because you will take a decent amount of damage.
Hey, I'm watching where I'm going.
Never know, man. Are we all, kind of in the same instance? I don't see, the only one I don't see is Chig.
See a lot of people. Yeah.
Chig and I are dropping shortly.
Okay. We will wait on you two to get your logs before we...
Yeah, there's 4033 uplinks.
It's hard on this first bit for me not to just dump all this information, because it was a very long time in between finding this stuff.
Oh, it dropped me in so close, almost crashed.
Yeah, sometimes it'll... Oh, I didn't mean to turn that off. Sometimes it'll drop you through. Gotta be careful. Cool. Get rid of the notification. I think everyone knows where the hell we are now. Scrabbles, if someone with a big smile shows up and a couple of plasmas, you better be ready to throw your AX weapons at them.
Oh yeah, I'll be ready.
We have 16 people on the stream, so you never know when someone's gonna come and give us a big old smile, big old grin ear to ear, laugh out loud time with some plasmas and torpedoes.
Emergent gameplay.
Hey man, I think the most fun I've ever had in an event was when it went completely wrong because of the stream, to be honest. So, count your P's and Q's.
Oh geez, now you're just asking for it.
Let me know when you guys are in good chicken tracks.
Scanning the last one. I'm in a different instance from everybody.
Okay. Can Chig hear me, or oh yeah, he's there.
Yeah, I can hear you. We're good.
I've got it.
Hey Curve. Yeah, it's okay. It happens. It happens. That's why I like these events though, and I try and make them so we don't have to do anything with instancing. Like, it doesn't matter if you're in solo, you're still going to be able to do this. Even with the VOD as well. You can just speed it up. I'll probably put little timestamps where all the log bits are. But after this bit, I get to babble a bit more about the Black Flight.
Ah, it's Karuv joining us.
Yep, Crew's in the stream. Let's see what Symbians we actually have, because I haven't...
Simbad represent.
One person okay. One person from Simbad represent. We have my moderator. We have Karuv, and yep, it's one person. So all of Simbad is here. No, Volt's here. I know. I'm glad you said that, Volt, because I forgot. I was like, Cosmic Lighthouse. That has to be. I'm pretty sure that's Volt, but it's been a while. I haven't done a stream in a while. I haven't seen you, so seen your name. We probably have a couple names that I don't recognize, because obviously Simbad isn't everyone's entire life. So, if Chig and Tracks are good, I'm gonna mute Discord, and we can start listening 1 through 4.
This is the survey vessel Pandora, requesting update to mission parameters. We've detected an unidentified signal on the surface of a nearby planet. Request permission to investigate. Permission granted. Updating registration. Unidentified ship. This is the Pandora. We are a registered survey vessel on an authorized research mission. Cease fire! Repeat, we are a survey vessel. Halt your attack! They're not responding. We have to get out of here! Attention all crew. Abandon ship. Abandon ship. Procedure assigned by... We've tracked the signal to planet AB4A in the Col 285 sector, CV-YD57 system. I've put a mission update request in, but I'm not waiting to hear back before we take a look. For all we know, we could be sitting on something special here. Anyway, by the time we get there, we should have received the relevant permissions. No harm, no foul. This is interesting. Long-range probes have pinpointed the source of the signal. It's coming from what we suspect to be a huge structure. The permissions have arrived. Just one more day, and we'll be in orbit and ready to go down.
So, I'm going to unmute Discord. And can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Are we good?
I'm good.
All good.
So, these guys, I have 7 windows open and cannot control my ship anymore. These guys were a science research team, in part working in tandem with a mining vessel. Now, the listening post mentions a mining vessel, and it also mentions the Pandora, but it doesn't. It confuses the two, and says that the Pandora was the mining operation. Now, if anyone wants to follow me out to Super Cruise, they can also just watch the stream for this part, because I'm not going anywhere. I'm literally just hopping to Super Cruise and stopping. If my memory is correct. This is one of the unmarked ones. Well, if you go to, let's see, let me go back to that voice log. I don't know which one it is because they came in purposefully backwards. The Col 285 sector. If you were to head there, we're not going there now, so don't run there. This is for your own times later. You can, that's a real thing in the game, you can actually go to, not just little story talk, and see what the Pandora were passing by. These guys got jumped on the way back there, much like the generation ships that would survey a particular area. These guys would coast around in this little general facility between 42 and Perseus, which is the place we were just in as part of the Perseus constellation. And then we're just outside of the Perseus constellation right now. Perseus has a lot of lore in it. A lot of the constellations do. I'm sure you guys have heard me say in Loose Screws in the past that there's a lot of lore. But Perseus has about 3 stories. The Perseus starts us off with the Black Flight. Perseus has a few things in a system called Algol. If you happen to ever decide to go there, and anyone's read my little decryption puzzle in Loose Screws at all, there is something there, so that's worth going to. But while I get our next location, does anyone have any background questions? Because there's a really long long bit of information here that I'll slowly be able to open up on as we get through the next two specifically. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. Can't forget to check stream chat. Anybody in here catching up? Need a hand? Algol. So let me type that. ALGOL. That's the system. Unrelated to the Black Flight, but it's fun nonetheless. So the next location we're going to, if everyone is good, I will throw up on stream. And on top of that, I need to filter by fuelable stars because I have forgotten how teeny eensy weensy this ship's fuel is. So I'll do an injection as well so we don't have to wait on me. I figured I'd take a slower ship for the stream, that way if people are, you know, watching along and they have a limited 20 light year jump, 25 light year, this is the minimum I've got on this thing is 25, so that way people can keep pace without, you know, falling behind too far. So 59.26. Let's see where I can go from here. 23. 2042. I think that's gonna be the closest one. Yeah, maybe here. Yeah, we'll just go for this one. It's not a big deal. So the next one is mildly similar, but we are going to be going on a little trip in the system afterwards. So be prepared for some planetary stuff. So the location currently flashing on the stream is where we are heading. It says current location, but popped it up just a little early. Not there yet.
Oh, I'm being hyperdicted.
That was not a thing yet. That was not a thing yet. Yeah. Anyone getting hyperdicted? I'm sorry. Good luck. Well, you can tell.
This is why I brought my AX crate.
You can tell someone isn't too happy with the path we're on right now.
I explained to them that this was an academic enterprise, and they were good with it. They left me alone.
Strange.
Does the mighty Tharg know English?
We don't know, to be honest with you.
All the ones I've encountered only know Guardian Goss.
It is very, very unlikely that they really care about any other languages. The way the Thargoids function is very much, they have reached the peak of their evolution is a silly idea to them because they have mastered biological engineering. Anything that they want to have happen, they've done. And furthermore, interestingly enough, unlike us or the Guardians, both the humans and Guardians both, you know, constantly push and push and push to develop and expand and this and that. The Thargoids, on the flip side of all this, they've actually realized they've almost killed themselves at one point because they were trying to do the same thing that we do all the time, and realized, you know what, where we're at is peak that is as high as you know, as advanced as we're gonna get, and that's where we're going to stay. So the reason the Thargoids have been around so long as they have is because they've, you know, just been comfortable with where they're at species-wise. So it's very unlikely that they, you know anything outside of potentially the queens and the princesses, who understand things to a varying degree. They might acknowledge they probably acknowledge the existence of another language, but just do not care. In the very least, all the rest of the grunts do not, because they are working off of, you know, insect level brain. They're only caring about territory.
Curious who didn't get hyperdicted, because I just got hyperdicted too.
Well, it's a good thing
So far, none for me.
Good thing I brought a smaller ship, because well, if you guys are getting hyperdicted, I'm gonna fuel on the star sec so I can at least make the next set of jumps. So the location, as I'm sure you guys will see in here, is another survey vessel. This one has a bit of a twist to it.
Did you say what body we're going to?
You'll see it as soon as you go in, but it's A3A, or well, A3. It's not actually orbiting the moon.
I was gonna say I didn't get hyperdicted, but on the last jump, I'm getting knocked out.
Why is everyone getting ganked? That's great.
Jeez, I didn't. And
Hey.
I'm prepared for it.
Yeah, the only one prepared did not.
I didn't get anything.
Get here. That is enough fuel.
Warning, temperature critical. Fuel suit disengaged.
So further along, there was a gap between finding the Pandora and the Victoria's song. At that point, Obsidian Orbital was still struggling with its technological problems. I think that went on for a good couple months. We had surface ports being built out here in Maya, or one or two. Of course, we ended up getting Palin a while after. Then we had a few small outposts out here, but we were still in very, very early days. This is about 5 some odd months afterwards. Just about there. Hope everyone is okay on fuel. Probably should have had one of us running in a fuel bearing ship in case someone got hyperdicted enough times they ran out of fuel.
I got fuel. I was dangerous. Lean low for a second.
Were you elite dangerous? Sorry.
Wow.
For the record, I approve.
I didn't know this was going to be a comedy show, too. Holy hell.
Yeah. That one, I've been holding that one back for a while. At least a couple months.
I'm going to need to make a pit stop. There's a system nearby with stations that I can refuel from.
Ah, okay.
I got transfer Olympics too, just FYI.
I thought you were going to say, I'm going to have to leave now. After that.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, that was a good...
Simbad out.
Simbad out. Karuv got hyperdicted as well.
Of course.
So the same story as last on this one, as far as the approach. I scanned it and I didn't get any. Oh, there we are. Took a second.
I would say this is off topic, but my left-hand panel appears to be bugged.
Do you need help in here? You could try just logging to menu, or we can get you in a wing and you can just drop on one of us. You don't need the panel for that.
Try wiggling the exposed wires you see above your dash panel. Anaconda.
It's clearly the Anaconda's fault.
Someone just rammed the shit out of me.
Did you try restarting?
Thanks, Grabbles.
You're welcome. I regret nothing.
It's working now.
Right, I think I've got everything. I'm going to cover the stream for a second, so it's going to go dark. I need to look at the order in which I scanned these. If you anyone would want, because they don't all come out in order, just you know, you can skip reading or playing them if you just open them and look at the order, so you know, because that last one was out of order purposefully, at least on my end. But when you normally scan it,
Yeah, I got that too.
But so yeah, open it up, see what the numbers are, and we can start in a minute here. It's a really pretty spot. I remember the day this was found coming out here. You'd be surprised how many things hide in plain sight with the Pleiades, because it's a very small area, very high traffic, but it's kind of the same idea as the, well, really the main bubble nowadays, right? Where it's just a bunch of people coming through that, you know, they're just running to Maya and running back. You don't see a lot of the things that are hidden out here. Very much like with the main bubble.
It looks like these came in the correct order for me.
Cool. Alright, stream is unblack again. Sorry about that. Who do we have behind us that is not here yet? Whoops. How many of you guys do we have in instance here? Dubs, McPherson, Hate, Data. Who else is not there yet if you're in Discord?
Hey, this is Flynn. I'm a ways out.
Okay. No biggie.
Not there, but go ahead and carry on, because I'm following in the stream. I keep getting sidetracked. Daughter's first day of school, so I have to keep
gotcha.
hopping to the side here. I'm keeping up as best I can.
Hey, I will. I'll give it like another minute. Wait. Okay.
Don't wait on my account. I've been running back and forth for similar reasons.
Okay. Everyone's. All right, Scrabbles. Are you running back and forth? You got some like wires to check in your back room?
Nah, everything's been taken care of on my end at least.
How's your oh god, what was that mic you were using for a while? Not mic. You were using like radio waves bouncing off a mirror or something? Not a mirror. I can't remember what it was.
Moon bounce.
Yeah, moon bounce, yeah. Well, hey, the moon's basically a mirror.
Might as well be for radios, but it's it does weird things, especially when it just repolarizes your signal and then nobody can hear you because it's not lining up with their antennas anymore. So cool.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, I'm going to get some distance from the song, and we can just go ahead and start with the logs. I'll mute Discord again here. I need you to stop making engine noises, Scrabbles.
Survey vessel Victoria's Song, Commander's log. Some of the crew are not happy we're working for the feds, but this deal is too good to pass up. With all the expansion going on in this region, we need to make sure we're in at the beginning to secure the contracts we need. This survey mission is just that. A simple rock hop, scanning for minerals. Survey vessel Victoria's Song, Commander's log. We arrived in orbit around Planet A7A a day ago. It's been all hands on deck to make sure all the equipment is ready for launch down to surface. While the majority of our planet scans just showed the usual mineral data, there is one area on this rock that is giving off some unusual readings. If there is any profit to be made from this outing, I'll bet my ship it's gonna be found there. Survey vessel Victoria's Song, Commander's log. We've stumbled onto something big. I don't know what it is or who built it, but we've definitely hit the mother lode. Ares Dark Region DB-X D1-63 is gonna have our names on it. First things first, I've got to make sure all this is by the numbers. I don't want this going south because we didn't fill in the correct paperwork. I'm calling it in. Security vessel, please respond. Hold your fire! This is a registered survey mission. We have all the correct paperwork. Listen to me. You can't just arrest us. We haven't done anything wrong. We have rights. Pete, we're an unarmed survey team on a registered mission. We surrender, please.
Paperwork don't mean shit. Your paperwork does not apply here. How's everyone doing?
I've listened to all of them.
Good.
Cool.
Good.
That Ares Dark Region star is not going to have their names on it.
No. I probably has some random commander on it at this point. So this one is a little extra special because whether you guys have noticed it or not, if you guys have been here before, after being assailed, the place that they happen to be killed at is directly above something from Frontier First Encounters. Some really old era stuff here. So if everyone would like to hop into their nav panel and click on the A3A moon, we're gonna go visit something from another game. If I could not be mass locked, we're gonna go visit something from another game. That's what I get for running a little small ship. So I hope everyone can scan this. If they can't scan it, I have the coordinates. If you don't know how to follow coordinates, you can get in wing with someone. for visual pointers, I will say it is on the daylight side. And when I get down there, I can give you guys some info on where it is. I do not remember the coordinates, but that's the beauty of the DSS. You just left click now. The time between findings is about a year and a half here. So that song back there and what we're heading down to right now, a very long time went by between finding these two because we didn't have, you know, the DSS, and we found it before well before the DSS came to be about, but the new version rather. So there's a big mountain range if anyone can target me, who doesn't have a scanner or anything. Big mountain range that goes down. Big mountain range that goes down into a valley, and then sets off into a canyon. And right in the middle of this canyon, we're going to be heading straight down.
As I watch mapping probes stream by.
Since you're in our wing, you should have the crash site as well.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah, I can't. And I can't even see you guys most of the time.
Running coordinates is data.
Landing gear deployed.
If everyone would mind not parking their ships super close to the location would be good. I'm just gonna wait on others to get down in here. I'm enjoying that because I have that on insert, the push to talk, and that's bound to my lights. Every time I talk, my ship's lights turn on. Like my ship is indicating whether I'm talking or not. There are things around the site that you don't want to hit the ground because you'll crush it for this instance. There's like commodity level stuff, so try not to tap the ground if you can help it. Pro tip for anybody hopping in an SRV down here: if you get absolutely annoyed like I do about the wave scanner going off all the damn time when you're near somewhere cool, you can turn that off in your modules tab and have no repercussions. Just a heads up, it turns the entire UI bit off. It's really helpful when you're at, you know, areas that involve, I don't know, geology or stuff like that, and you can get a lot of hits, and it gets really, really damn annoying. So we have a beautiful view land-wise here. It's really pretty, and I'll go into a bit of information of why this thing's so old in a minute. That's pretty. Maybe we'll hand it over a second to our resident Scrabbles, CDC weapon chemist, who can who can help us explain why this thing seems to be so old. Or have you not noticed it yet, Scrabbles?
Well, it's got that mycoid crap all over it.
Yep. We have no date on death. we have no date on impact. My screen just went black. There we go. But this particular Thargoid scout that has crashed here, not only is it kind of dingy with some, you know, noticeable Guardian tears weaponry there, this particular site has mycoid lesions on it. No other like site or location that I know of outside of this, like one or two others of these actually. No other site that I know of actually has these lesions on it. It is only these scouts. Now the scouts are obviously from, you know, a very early design. These guys are the same ones you see in the original Elite. They're the same ones you fight in the games that move on onwards. Someone's pushing my camera. I think that's Scravels. Forget that ships can push cameras. But these guys were targeted by, you know, the Black Flight just above. Not only, you know, they had passed by the Ares location, but these guys are, interestingly enough, killed just over a site dating back a few hundred years. There's a few chunks taken out of it too, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if you can shine your lights where I'm looking, Scrabbles. You gotta go back down to where you were. It's to your right. Yeah, more right, and then forward from there. Yeah, there you are. That little chunk that's open there. It'd be interesting to know what was out here that was hurting it, because you have some blue scarring that people have theorized, oh, that's the Guardian weapons, but if you look at the rest of the vessel, it has those markings all over in very unison lines, so that's likely just its own, you know, body markings, happenstantial wear and tear, and then obviously it crashed. But this was either the first or the second, I can't remember, it's been a while, Thargoid Scout crash from, you know, a bygone era that we had seen. We've never seen anything regarding the mycoid on a vessel until this point. I don't know if we have any of the debris around here. I don't know if they didn't load in or someone stepped on them. There should be. Oh yeah, here, down here. Further back down the trail, you've got a lot of Thargoid commodities over here. You've got your general resin, biological matter, and technological bio parts that you can pick up. So yeah, this site always remains of really great interest because it's one of the only places that you can see a scout messed up. You can get in your SRV and scan its probe or little egg, whatever you want to call it, up top, and you can get yourself some data as well.
And the composition scanner, of course, for your log.
Yeah, true, your composition scanner as well. Which I think I've already done that. Yeah, it's not letting me.
The Guardian fighters have composition scanners.
Yep, all fighters do, which is why I enjoy taking fighters sometimes for this stuff, because there's times when things are in really close areas that I don't want to take a ship at. Yeah, if you go over the ship analysis, you get a material analysis, high concentrations of mycoid particle detected, searching known database for identification. Now, this did not say scout, if I remember. When I came here, I scanned it, and it said designation unknown. So it seems they updated it as time went on. That could be a minor memory blip, but I'm almost 100% sure that when we got down here, all it said was unknown. So as the stories developed, we've gotten more. It's kind of cool because here you can really get a chance to sit and look, especially on stream. You can get a chance to sit and look at the thrusters that keep this thing alive, or keep this thing afloat, rather. Nothing on the bottom, but you can see its radial organic engines all on the side if you get underneath. You got four major nodes exposed. It's kind of hard to get, average pictures of scouts when they're flying around. You actually get to see how much detail is on them. And then of course the pretty egg, whatever that thing is up top. So this is one of the rare sites in Elite where story began to mix in, because this was before all the INRA stuff. Oh, that's a really pretty picture on stream. I got someone's shadow there, just barely, which looks cool. There you go. That looks nice. So yeah, all of this was around the time of the superstructures being found. And as far as the Black Flight, at this point in the game, if we're going down the timeline, the next spot I can literally just say everything. It's the dangerous location, one of them. At this point in the timeline, we're obviously, certain that something's messing with these vessels out here. But what's kind of neat about it is, at that point, the Black Flight were kind of in the background. A lot of people had forgotten about them as the year went on, and we knew we had these Thargoid vessels, and we had these unidentified ships. And at that point, I remember a lot of people questioning, are the unidentified vessels, are they AI? Like, not AI, like the constructs, but just, are they even piloted? There was a ton of things, from if they were piloted to what group they were with, to did it have something to do with the Thargoids, manipulating people or whatever. Because we never heard any voice logs from the Black Flight themselves up to that point. So we didn't know who was working with what. And Elite's history has always been, there's been stories of people working with the Thargoids. Obviously, some of that has been retconned, so don't take all of this for gospel. But there's been all kinds of stories of, people working with the Thargoids, working against them, working with other alien races. So it wasn't too far past the idea that, wrong button. It wasn't too far past the idea that we might be getting into another era of Elite story where we might be having something very similar happening again. So from here on, oh, that's so pretty. Whoever just turned their lights off. It was cool with the lights on, but the stream looks really, really nice. Forgot what I was saying. Looked nice. I like your little wedge you've got going on there, Scrabbles. You're like wedged right between two SRVs.
Partially stuck in the ground.
Yeah, let me get a snap of that. That's good. So anyway, the next part is the potentially dangerous part. I've been saying it's dangerous. Very likely with Elite, you get over there, absolutely jack all happens when there's no NPCs around. But it could be mildly questionable. I need to get in my ship right now. I need to call my ship back down because I left it on the hillside because I wanted to get a pretty view. But yeah, if anyone has any Thargoid, like I said, this is a little weird one where I've had to not be able to say as much as since we're following along the history of the players that, as they came out here finding things. At this point, when the song was found, we had, the Federation and the Empire vying for what were, seemed to be known as the Barnacles, and we still didn't know what origin they were of because, we hadn't seen what a Thargoid looked like at that point. So we didn't really know what we were looking at most of the times that we were doing things. There were so many anacondas. Whoever did a flyby, that was great. I'm excited for Odyssey to get to see the size difference because you really don't notice it until you're on the ground. Scrabbles.
Yes.
My ship was coming down to land on you. Just thought you should know that. Ah, man. I'm stuck in the terrain. There we go. So it was cool when we found Song, because then we were like, okay, well, that was an interesting story. We still don't know anything, though. And then, you know, a long time later, we come back out, and poof, here's an entire vessel we completely missed. One of the cool aspects of not being able to find everything immediately with the DSS, like, I'm happy it exists now because it allows people to find things more quickly and get engaged more quickly, which is nice because, you know, there's so much at this point. It's good, but it still took, you know, some of the what's the word? It took some of the vastness out of the game in a certain way, and I don't mean that in like a negative sense necessarily, but you know, you never knew it was on some planet, you never knew it was on something right around the corner, and Elite still has that here and there, because certain surface sites that you DSS, they have a low bandwidth, so you can't actually scan them or see them on your nav panel until you're like right over on top of them. So it's not all you know, bad things just because the DSS is around. There's still things that do take time to find if you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, that's a interesting foregone time. So for our next location, let us see. We are heading into a place Scrabbles and I know very, very well. And Scrabbles, you may have been there, or you may have not even known it was a thing at the time. So everyone open up their galaxy maps. Don't be in camera mode trying to open up your galaxy map. And we are going to be heading to Electra. We're actually going to be heading right into the Pleiades now. And I'm going to inject again because I am in a baby ship. Hope I have the fuel to make the one jump. If I do, then we'll be good. So from these survey vessels, we eventually became to be aware of locations deeper into the Pleiades that were being built as the Pleiades was being expanded into. So as the Pleiades were getting their stations, we were getting more surface, not more surface ice, more space installations, more outposts. So where can I jump to? I can almost jump right there. Yeah, that's a G class. Look at my fuel, guys. Beautiful fuel on stream. This is how I normally fly, don't worry. I navigated all the way off the galactic plane for this. I can navigate all the way back over here. The Victoria song is one of my favorites just because it leads straight down to that. The second location here is probably my favorite story out of the Black Flight, and it finally reveals a major chunk of their story arc. It was a really fun time during this era because no one really knew what anything was, and that was fun. Because you had multiple story branches going. You had the superpowers involved. Everyone wanted a piece of, you know, the Pleiades and the Barnacles for one reason or another that no one could really pinpoint, we knew that they, you know, you could use them for building, and obviously anything that's obtuse or unknown, people want, you know, powers want a hand in. But we had the powers vying, we had the covert S6 ships running around, we had some people who were, you know, we had somebody or something that was assailing all these vessels that were coming out into the area to expand and colonize the Pleiades. And then we had Thargoid tech in the midst of it all. So it was a really, really fun time, and this went on for a while. We had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we don't really have anything like that now in the game, but this was one of the heydays of Elite Story, where we had like 4 or 5 story arcs running at the same time, and everyone was getting pretty confused, but that was kind of fun. No one really knew what was up or down as far as what was going to happen with the story. We also had a lot of player groups advancing out to here, and they were getting their footholds with FDev. So we are heading to the communication hub Zeta 12. We're in Electra. I'm gonna get just a little more fuel. Have you ever actually landed in here, Scrabbles, or no?
At the station or at the point of interest?
Zeta 12, yeah, point of interest.
I may have, but I didn't do anything with it.
Okay. Yeah, Electra holds one of the darker aspects of the story. Really pretty for Thargoid combat, really fun to hang around in. But I'm sure you guys passed by through here during your Mariki Tiki tour not long ago.
I think we did.
Yep.
I see there's a listening post out here too.
Yep. That listening post, so right around the time that this, sorry, I got a little close to the mic because I was sitting up, right around the time that this area was getting these communication hubs revealed, we were getting listening posts left and right, and most of them were triangulation ones. So if you go to that one, it'll give you 2 other locations. Not as simple as the first one. And then you have to figure out what system within that triangle it's talking about, because it'll give you a distance between the other 2 and then the main one. And then you have to figure out, you know, which one in the triangle it is, which is usually pretty easy, but they can be a bitch when you're in like the galactic core trying to figure out, all right, between 23 and 24 of this triangle. All right, man, is that vertical? Is that... There's a lot of stars here in the main cluster, so you're not really helping me out here. We have the Cavalieri station here. This system was first settled by the Hive. We've got... You'll notice some remnants in here as well. We've got... Aegis Research is in here, if you look in the system map or the status panel. We've got Cooper Research, who were the Alliance group that were trying to vie for power in this area. We've also got Operation Ida, who we all know. They're just kind of here. they have nothing involved in anything. They just kind of... Everyone leaves them alone. I think my beacon's on Scrabbles. Yeah, it is.
Are you gonna get dropped on the station?
Oh yeah, you gotta go to the station for your fuel, right? Oh my lord! Okay, don't worry. There are multiple things here. Let's see. I almost ran into the place. If anyone was looking at that.
Yep, me too.
It does not look like we have any black flights. We have tourists. Do not be surprised if you get jumped at any point. So this has voice acted logs, and this one's a bit in depth. So you're gonna want to make sure that you scanned the we have scanned the installation. There are some logs, I believe, that are inside. If there's any doors that need to be opened, I will tell you how to open them. I don't remember here myself. And you'll also notice that we have a transmitter here at the top of the hour. These unregistered comms beacons, they broadcast a signal, and you can listen to it. I don't know what this transmitter actually says, because I believe... Get close and see the ID on this guy. Yeah, so this one is for another story. But all in all, everything here is very, very important. So, yeah, we're just gonna...
I see 4 uplinks.
We're gonna have at it. Some might be inside, like I said. Yeah, try and scan them in order, by the way, if it helps. Because I forgot that they... Back when, these were not numbered, right? It just said ship log uplink, and that was it. So... now we have advanced tools like numbers that we can use to notate things.
The glories of organization.
Yeah. Excited for this one. I haven't heard it in a while, and this has some hidden stuff in it too. Weird noise. Anybody hear that in the stream?
I hear it on my local.
Keep tabs of that sound. That's important for something I've told Scrabbles, but we haven't confirmed, so I don't really tell everyone. What are we, number 2? Has anything been inside on this one?
Not yet, unless the last one is.
Okay. There's many of these, so this one doesn't look like it really has anywhere inside, so this one probably isn't one.
All the ship logs are on the exterior.
Cool. Last one. Go get your crate stuck in there.
Not that bad.
Well, I watched someone who's a good pilot, and they just decided to boost, and they had the equivalent of when you're riding a horse and you blindly take it over a hill and you snap its ankle. They got like caught. They didn't twist like you see in here, and they got their winglets caught and they got permanently stuck. They had to self-destruct because relogs weren't helping.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah. Woo! That's always fun. Boosting full speed through there, getting your twists in. Alright, enough about my flying my flying abilities in a baby ship, which barely gets stuck anyway. A lot less people on instance this time, but how's everyone doing on scans? Everyone basically here in Discord?
I'm being scanned.
Just got scans done. Gonna listen now.
Ooh, we got a system authority here. What's the ID? You won't see their names. You have to check their ID.
This is the Hive.
Yeah, it's the Hive. They are really following you, Scrabbles.
They know something.
We the Hive. Yeah.
This is a lot like that one CQC map.
Yep. These are mainly CQC assets at the time, because CQC was still relatively new.
Yeah, it's like that one where you can get stuck in the level geometry behind the pipes.
Yep.
In that little ridge in the midsection.
Yep. Yep.
The cops are now spamming me with deploying their hardpoints.
Yep. They'll sometimes inherit weird attributes from other NPCs that used to be here. The Black Flight have effectively been removed from some of these just because of how the story goes, but to keep in mind. Look around. Anyhow, if everyone is basically good, I'll go ahead and start the logs.
Good
on
over
my
here.
end. Let me mute, and here we go.
This signal is incredible. The behavior is almost organic. We can't isolate it. Every time we think it's gone, it shifts to a new frequency band. If I didn't know better, I'd say it's alive. Maybe some military experiment? But it's illegal to hack the public comms network. I've never seen anything like it. I gotta get to the bottom of this. It's not military. At least, not our military. This code might not even be human. We managed to track it to the point of origin. Seems to be coming from a system here in the Pleiades sector. This is too big for us now. I put in a report to head office. With luck, they'll let us take some credit for the discovery. I mean, finding alien life has become a big thing lately. There's gotta be some kind of payout for information like this. They arrived this morning, apparently on company orders to shut us down. They said they were gonna make the station fully automated. This makes no sense. We've just stumbled upon the discovery of a lifetime, and now they want to automate this place? Oh, and another thing, they're armed. Well, some of them at least. They say that head office has set them here for our protection. Something's not right here. Every time we ask for details, we get the brush off, or just some more vague reasons for them being here. They've taken copies of all our research and wiped any data concerning the signal from our systems. They're wiping everything. These guys didn't come from head office. I overheard a conversation between the operation lead and his superiors. There's some kind of private military outfit. I gotta contact someone, ask for help. I managed to get these logs and some of our data onto a data core. If anything happens to us, maybe someone will find it and get the truth out. I've encoded the location data into one of the beacons outside. It should just seem like a stream of numbers if they don't look too closely. I've rigged it to go off at 10 minutes past the hour. We've all been called to the docking bay. They say we're being sent home, but I don't believe them for a second. Everyone is really scared.
So, this was around the time that things finally started to come out all around the Pleiades. We had superstructures slowly being found. We had information that there was a group out here that weren't looking to just commandeer the Pleiades, or the Barnacle sector. They're looking to commandeer the entirety of the Pleiades. Now, the only group who knew anything about the Thargoids in the earliest seems to be the Federation. You could go to Ross. Oh god, I don't want to give the wrong system, but it was like it was Ross 514 or something. It was something very close to Sol, and you could find federal convoys carrying unknown artifacts, Thargoid sensors at the time. Nothing with Imperial signals had this, but it was only the federal convoys. So it's assumed that the people that we never really got the name of were in contact with the Federation, whether they were working completely separately independently on their own, still not really sure, because the Black Flight story has never been fully closed. There's a couple other locations. We have one more after this one, but there's a couple other locations that I'll post up, send you guys to, that well, they are more Black Flight locations, but the final one is open-ended, talking about something that hasn't been seen yet, another site. And whether that's in the game, we're not sure. But some of the remaining locations that contain the end of the Black Flight story are permit locked, namely one system, and it's near the Pleiades, no population, and it has, but it does have federal allegiance, which again reinforces the federal ties. And so what we've got here is a communication hub, civilian communication hub. This was put in place with the other stations at the same time that things were kind of set up out here, and the story didn't come until just a little, maybe a couple days after, when people finally got to it. And yeah, what we've got is a firing squad on normal civilians who have just working a telecoms section for the electric system, getting lined up wall fire, and the whole place has been completely automated afterwards. There's a few more locations like this, and like I said, I'll give you guys some extra information, but this is one of my favorite stories, because that unregistered comms beacon just outside that puts up a string of numbers and letters like the guy was talking about, you can actually sit and decode it at the time he said, the top of the hour, and every 10 minutes past, it will give out a long string repeated 4 times of this. Now I'm going to put this on the stream, so if anyone's listening on Discord, please hop there and look. Let me clear. For some reason I can't paste the entire thing in here. Looks like I gotta place it. Okay, don't worry. This game is not letting me copy and paste an entire paragraph. It's 2020 after all. There we go. So that's what you get, and it also gives you the numeric sequence decodes by letter positions, and it decodes to this. So it'll give you a numeric string and encodes to that. If you apply a keyed Caesar cipher to the remainder of the key, which translates to invaders just without the J, assuming an error in the transmission there for the J, it yields this message, which I'll just read because I don't want to copy entire paragraphs one line by one. Operation Overlook. Now this is very, very important. Operation Overlook sitrep GIP 19026 site B1C. It gives a latitude, longitude, M particles minimal. M particles, so microwave particles minimal. Mode standby. For some reason, and I've kind of forgot this a little bit, for some reason these guys not only know about the Thargoids well before anyone even knew, what we were looking at, they also knew about the mycoid, which no one should know about at all, unless you were of the Federation or the Empire, or maybe some, independent person who caught ear 100, years ago or something like that. The inner bases were not out at this time. I'm gonna take a sip because I'm dying. The INRA bases were not out at this time, so we didn't know anything other than that Thargoid Scout, which talked about mycoid, and M particles, which no one really connected what an M particle minimal meant when they found this until we found the Scout. So those kind of linked together. Now in July of 3306, this year, it was found that the message had been changed, seemingly correct the typo, but also now points to a different Thargoid structure, which was also inactive. That GIP 19029, that is another topographical error. It means HIP, not JIP. And the new location it shows is Operation Overlook Sitrep HIP 16572, site A4E, latitude 39, longitude -29, M particles minimal, mode standby. Now what's extra interesting there is that they're definitely talking about the superstructures. We know from taking superstructure commodities, the resin and all that when you take it to a commodities market to sell it, the information it says is that it comes from a Thargoid crash site. So we obviously don't know what the superstructures are, other than it says a type of crash site. Thank you, Chick. I just saw your Twitch thing. Anyway, we know it's some sort of crash site, judging by what that said. Now, the fact that there's traces of M particles, mycoid, presumingly, that means that these things have been around for a very long time. So the superstructures you land at weren't just, there in the time of elite dangerous. It was there in the time of, eons back. And if you go through the first encounter story, which is parts have been retconned, so not gospel, but it's still interesting because obviously they're gonna have these ideas still in the back burner and maybe implement something. Mick Turner was one of the guys who interacted with the Thargoids pretty heavily. He was part of the Alliance. Now this is a lot of background story to this I won't go into. You can actually find what I'm talking about towards the end of Drew Wager's Lour tour for more information on that during the Alliance episode. But it's said that he came out here and his tracks end in the Pleiades, in one of the really hard to unlock stories in that game that most people would not read. His tracks end in the out here, and there's already mycoid out here. So this area has been, it's not just that the Thargoids all of a sudden popped up into the Pleiades at the same time that we were expanding. This stuff has been here for a very, very long time, and we are merely people encroaching on an area that we really shouldn't be digging our noses in. Now the Thargoids have the brain enough to tell whether something is advancing in a negative fashion or not, but that remains to be seen what they think. Now, Operation Overlook, this is really, really, really important. If we go to the galaxy map, everyone open the map, where we can't go there, so don't get excited, we're not moving anywhere. I have it bookmarked because photographic memory causes me to mismanage things. Okay, so right here is HIP 22460. I'm going to pull up the stream chat just so I can make sure I can see that again if anyone has any questions. Because it'll be a long question period afterwards if anyone has anything, because there's a lot of information to soak in. But the HIP 22460 system has been permit locked. Not always. It's a real star. You can look over here at its actual HIP catalog and its HD catalog. So this is we got a real system here. And it wasn't always permit locked. What happened was we got a trailer for some mega ship that was functional sitting over top of a body. It was a moon, and beneath it was a Thargoid superstructure, and this megaship was loaded out with a lot of communication gear. Like, it had a lot of antennas, etc. You can actually still find the trailer, and I can link it. If I had thought about it, I would have just ran it through the stream, but I'll link it afterwards. Link it in the stream comments as well, so anyone wanting to get it there can. But this trailer that they gave us was just before they released the superstructures, and they didn't tell us where this was. The general gist of the thing is that there's a megaship sitting above it, and then there are people that come down, and they come down in Cobras, they land, and then Thargoids appear. Now, what's interesting is Thargoids appear above these independent SRVs, and there's supposedly a megaship there, but the megaship isn't attacked or anything. It's not damaged in any way or whatever. So, further along, Canon Research, which I'm a part of, and our big wide eyes, apparently somebody decided, hey, you see that little star field? I think it was this way. Yeah. It was this way, and it had just a little nub right here of the one of the nebulas in the backdrop. And they're like, you know what? We can triangulate that based on where the stars are. So everyone sat down and took out their big thinking caps and their massive quills, I'm sure, that they use over there, and they went through, figured out exactly where this, and out of all these stars, figured out exactly where this trailer, this like 20 second trailer, had shown us where the system was. They narrowed it down here. The day before the patch, we all got here and parked. Everyone parked on that moon, ready to see something happen. Come patch day, everyone logs in, booted out of the system, and a little confused. We have the system map of this now, because people went there. Everyone got booted out. So they load up the game. We click on this system, and it's permit locked. We have Federation allegiance, economy is high tech, and everyone's kind of confused. Now, the people that still have the system map info, they click on the system map, and it shows a megaship called Overlook, which is the same megaship that is talked about many, many times through the Black Flight's stories. It's basically this megaship that is this like command hub for them that I don't know if they operate out of it, but it's very, very important. Now, further down the line, we've still never been able to get in here. FDev have never said anything outside of support gave us some sly comment about, well, if you keep looking, people are bound to find the way to unlock it soon. Could be cryptic, could be just fun, har, make people look around. But in general, they've wanted to die down on people, gawking around in areas that they're just kind of giving fluff. So we don't know if the permit is obtainable. But what you'll notice is a lot of these permits, that some of the ones that we think are obtainable, the only other one that we think is obtainable in game potentially is Polaris, and you'll notice that it comes up with what permit you need. It doesn't say where you get it from, but it comes up with what permit you need. If you go to some other locations that are permit locked, which as I talk, I'll sift through my stars really quickly, because I remember that there are some right around here. But as I scroll, I'll just keep talking. There's still things for the Black Flight we haven't found, and that I'll give you guys information on in a while, and then you guys can go investigate the ones that we do have. But the ending one, like I said, leads somewhere where you can't get to it. One of these is permit locked down here. Somewhere over here. But regardless, when you're looking at most permit locked systems, hell, let's just go over here and be really simple about it. It usually says permit lock, unknown. Way too many windows open. So all the Horsehead is permit locked, and you get requires unknown permit. You have the Guardian homeworlds, the Rigor sector, unknown permit. So it's up in the air. In canon, we only have, you know, we don't really say we've got an idea until we really, really have an idea. If you're asking me personally, and most of us personally, we're leaning towards there's a chance of the named ones being, you know, locatable. What's another one? There's Witch's Reach? Yeah, here we are. Now, to not get anyone's hopes up, Witch's Reach has had a system permit lock, just like Polaris, for 1 million years. But notice how it says the name and then tells you it's not obtainable. No permits are currently issued. Now, there's always the chance for lore reasons. They don't want to say, you know, this system's not even supposed to be really known about, right? So it's just kind of off the grid and they didn't add anything to it. But you'll notice there's no system description available. And same for Polaris. So I, as an independent but also part of canon, I am on the fence that there is something to be located. Whether or not it's one of those things where it is there, but, you know, you won't find it until this series of things happens just because it's so buried, I don't know. But that's kind of besides the point, because that's a very unique difference. But as far as the Overlook itself, is a megaship with a lot of communication abilities, and if you end up going through the Codex and you go to the Thargoids, there's a couple interesting things I note about how the Thargoids... Why am I here? Why the Thargoids, how they communicate. And it's under communication that they talk about they have a... It's not telepathy, but it kind of is a super, you know, futuristic version, if you will. They communicate via short range. Here we are. Yeah. Where's this start of the sentence? I guess it's just studies of battlefield footage have certainly suggests some kind of near instantaneous communication among the Thargoids, and the presence of low-level radio noise in areas occupied by Thargoids indicates that they do indeed communicate via short-range electronic signals. If you're ever to look at the spectrograms that the superstructures give off, you'll notice that they are very much all signal and relay based. So the Thargoids have a network of how they communicate from the main queens or whoever, wherever they are, and they have a network of how all the ships communicate and move in unison, similar to the way you know, certain animals flock and move together. They have a very unison nature about them. And my theory has always been, so there's a slight backstory really quick, and then we'll move to the last location, but my theory has always been any station that gets attacked, when Eagle Eye reports it, it generates a unregistered comms beacon right outside of the station that's going to be attacked. There isn't really a reason for, okay, let's say, I don't know, the Blue Man group is a war group, and they're coming to, you know, attack you tomorrow, your neighborhood, and that's your little area, and you intercept this signal saying that the Blue Man group are going to come and attack you. Why all of a sudden would just outside of your house magically appear a human-made translocator that tells you that there is going to be an invasion, you know, right outside, or not that there's going to be invasion, but that there are unknown, what is it? It's unknown vessels located, and it speaks it in a certain way that it reads off like whoever is writing this, it's already known about that. Yeah, hey, your best friend's coming in at 12 o'clock tonight, so just letting you know. I've never gotten a straight reason from anybody to refute my, I suppose, theory. I'm bouncing between theory and hypothesis on this one because it's not out of the range of what can happen with the way they're set up, but at the same time, it's not verified. But so there's no reason for this just to appear outside of every station the instant a station is going to get attacked, and it will tell that the Thargoids are present before they even begin the assault, like the week before, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So you've got this big Overlook Black Flight megaship sitting above this sort of really important, for some reason, superstructure. The Thargoids have passed through there, but, destroyed megaships don't show up in the system map. They show up, attacked megaships show up in the nav panel. But you have something along the lines of an Aegis megaship sitting there, and that is, when it's sitting there, it's functional. You can go and interact with it, and it even says what services it has and whether it's dockable or not. So you've got this megaship sitting here untouched above a big communication hub. And my theory has always been not that people are manipulating, or not that people are controlling the Thargoids holistically, because that would be too weak of a potentially interdimensional or extra dimensional species to just someone started toying with the ham radio. They're all under the human's control. But I've often wondered whether you could manipulate a signal, because it's just as far as all the story has gone so far, it's just electromagnetic electric signals. So you could easily tweak stuff like that, or insert your own information slightly. And what's interesting about the locations that are attacked is whether it's the Thargoids trying to throw us off or people interfering. When you get an Eagle Eye report, you would usually get 6 systems, and you would have to figure out, based on the presence of the unregistered comms beacons that I said just appear for no reason, you would have to figure out which systems had those, so you knew which ones were the real systems that were going to be attacked and which ones were just false information, because Eagle Eye would give you false information, and people would go out and start doing, trial runs, sitting around, wasting time that they could be saving another system, but the Thargoids or whoever gave them, the incorrect information to try and give them the slip. Now, Aegis controls the Eagle Eye, and they have always said that it's the Thargoids giving you the wrong information. But if it's possible to minutely adjust, if we can decode this stuff already, if it's possible to minutely adjust this information, you could, in theory, be, redirecting a group of Goids to go attack a particular system or an area that you want. You could do a lot of things with it. I don't know how advanced, how much understanding the Black Flight would have, but these guys know about the mycoid. And if you'll remember, in the INRA stories, we already figured out a way to use their hyperdrive tech, which isn't really hyperdrive. It's like it opens up a portal, and obviously we have the capital ships that do similar things, but that's separate. That's kind of already explained away as human. But there was a woman from INRA that actually had a functional thing. They put a man through it, and he was like, melted, warped, and then the ship was gone for a while. So we had extreme information on these guys way back, and we already created a mass genocide on a sentient species and did a ton of things that, the Thargoids aren't great, but it's sort of the same thing as, foxes aren't great for your backyard and your chickens. That doesn't mean you go and, start pulling flesh from their bones while they're alive just because they're a nuisance. You kill them and then you move on. Unless you're really exceptionally psycho, you'll do something like that. And a lot of the stories from the INRA are stuff about, putting real Thargoids through hydraulic presses to test their bone densities and all kinds of exoskeleton densities, whatever they've got. A lot of really dark stuff from the people's side before the Thargoids were really, no one knows whether they were just defending themselves, who shot first or what. But my theory has always been that in the background, we've got a group that knows a lot about the Thargoids and is doing minor tweaks behind, because some things just don't really add up with the way the story goes. We also have, at the very end of some of the INRA bases, we have Aegis coming in talking about that they're researching the mycoid themselves, and that thing is supposed to be defunct, and they're trying to potentially craft something new. I don't remember the end of that, because I either didn't go to it or it didn't end. I'm pretty sure it didn't fully end, but it was alluding to the INRA, or the Aegis were kind of following this footsteps after a point of INRA. There's a particular base called the Man from Aegis, and you can go to that and look that up. But I might just do a whole INRA thing, which will be a lot more fast-paced than the one we went through today, because it took me a bit to get to the actual information without giving everything away, because this is a really long subset of story. So now we're about into, well, we're into the superstructure update, so we're only 2.5 years away. I don't know if you remember, Scrabbles. Do you remember when I did that little, it turned into an event when Leavism asked me to grab a probe to help you guys, or to help Simbad set up the first map room viewing for everybody? I don't remember what year that was. Do you remember?
That was a long time ago.
It was ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know we haven't done anything in the last year as far as the game's story. I know we haven't done anything the year before. I don't know. Long time periods, but this is stuff everyone can investigate on their own. But there's a lot of things that don't add up between Aegis, the Black Flight, and why the Black Flight, don't seem to be assailed. I believe there is one site where someone's assailed by something, but as we know, the Thargoids, they're not always aggressive. Depending on where they are and what they're doing, they just, don't bother you. So if you had a great understanding of the Thargoids, like, you wouldn't have to worry about being, killed necessarily. So who knows what the Flight are doing on that end. But the Flight story kind of went dry after these initial communication bases were found, until I'd say a few, 5-6 months later, we started getting surface sites where a couple DBXs were shot down, and from there we haven't really heard anything. These guys have set up firing squads on civilians. They have destroyed, those mega ships carry thousands of people on board, just like the generation ships, for their operations. So they've, without any faint of heart, they have taken out their mega ships. They have done hit jumps on people in regular ships. Interestingly enough, Mick Turner, one of the ending stories in that other game I was telling you about, he died potentially to, there's Thargoid wreckage, but then there's also human wreckage that isn't his. So it'd be really funny, this is just completely me off the wall speaking, but it'd be really funny if Black Flight would have went back even farther, maybe under a different name or something like that. But so these guys have done a lot of stuff along. They're basically the human INRA. The INRA genocided, ran genocide runs on the Thargoids in one hit of a group that they didn't really understand. They just knew they wanted rid of them. The Thargoids really hadn't done any of this station detonation like they do now. I think the only reason they do it now is for reasons of, these guys are dangerous. Let's confuse them. Let's just do this and that for a while. Obviously, they're not. I'm not saying that they're all goody two-shoes because of what they didn't care about the Guardians, but one, you never know if how good the Guardians were, and two, all of our Guardian information is given by Ram Taz, so why do we always, just directly believe him? I think he's a good guy, but that's just an extra bit of story because Aegis are painted as a great group, and they've done other nefarious things. Many groups in Elite are painted as, yeah, we're just here for the common cause, and then, you know, they go out and do something else afterwards that completely is ass backwards to what their original designations were. So this was at a time when we had a lot of story arcs going, and this is why I think Elite's story was so cool back when, and people are kind of have missed out, is because we had many lines running at one time. Ram-Ta, Aegis, Black Flight, Inra, multiple Thargoid things that we didn't know about. Then we had all the bases back in the that were one-off stories and all this stuff running at one time that just everything was up in the air. Who's good, who's bad, and it was just a lot of fun to get into the game. And all right, well, what's gonna happen next? Am what I even doing good? Obviously, you know, not everyone role plays, and I really don't either. But it's still neat in a the BGS affects everything, so it's still neat in a context of, you know, at one point people were pushing Aegis everywhere, and people were like, yo, what if Aegis is bad? And then we pushed them into here, and now we've done something permanent to the game. The Black Flight were in a lot of areas. I should preface really quick, if we go to the galaxy map again, let me Pleiades. I'm trying to find the group. It's a minor faction that has been, because of the great minds that we have in an Elite of randos. The Black Flight exist where the Pleiades Resource Enterprise, which is the federal group who tried to push out here. If you went up to here in this permit lock section, the Pleiades Resource Enterprise is the minor faction that is in this thing, giving this system the allegiance tags for Federation. Now, they used to be a lot of places, and as they got pushed out, we stopped seeing, happenstantially, potentially, who knows, but it's still interesting to note, we stopped seeing the Black Flight ships flying around as much, catching them in the glimpses of our corner of our eyes. And so basically, the Pleiades Resource Enterprise, because people didn't like the Federation out here, they basically ran them out of all systems outside of this one. They exist in a couple systems as presences, but they do not control really anything. I'm trying to find, it looks like they're still in Delphi. So if we go to Delphi, Delphi is the headquarters. Contents may differ. Okay, Delphi is the headquarters of Aegis. Aegis were introduced as basically our new INRA. Maybe not as genocidal, we don't know, but they were supposed to be our new defense force against the Thargoids. And over here you've got the Pleiades Resource Enterprise, but they don't control anything really anymore anywhere. So yeah, we don't really have any more leads on it. I will say Aegis's being here is interesting because this system used to be called it was one of the coal sector systems. Or no, it was Pleiades. It was a Pleiades sector system. Now Delphi in Lour, this is kind of important here. Delphi in Lour of Greek Lour is formerly called Pytho as well. But Delphi was, let's see, where are my notes here just so I get this right. Okay, so Delphi was a place that was an ancient sanctuary, and the sanctuary, this is in IRL, the sanctuary grew rich, and there was an oracle there who people came and consulted about important decisions through the ancient classical world. It was a woman. The ancient Greeks considered the center of the world to be in Delphi, marked by the stone monument known as the Amphalos. The Omphalos meaning naval. Now, two things. This station is called the Oracle. We could just have some fun, you know, Greek stuff going on here, but this was originally a Pleiades, and FDev renamed this stuff for a reason. Donar's Oak is also, I believe that's Norwegian history about an oak that people cut down for religious reasons, but it was sacred before that. But anyway, so the Oracle. And the stone monument was known as the Omphalos. Now, if we go over to the Codex, and we go to the knowledge base, and we go to the Raxla tag, somewhere in here, blah, 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 blah. If someone finds it faster than I do, let me know. We're looking for the word Omphalos. I believe it was at the end of one of these paragraphs. I'm not seeing it. Unless it wasn't in here and it was in the Dark Wheel one. Might be in the Dark Wheel one. So whoever has the time, look at the Raxla one and see if you see the word Omphalos. Unless my memory slipped and it's not
I was reading it on stream. It was the fourth paragraph up.
1,
in
2,
Raxla.
3, 4. Fourth paragraph from the top or bottom?
From the bottom.
Oh.
It's in the first line there.
Oh, yeah. So, several versions of the Raxla story mention an alien artifact, the Omphalos Rift, described as a gateway or tunnel through which parallel universes can be accessed. Now, if anyone asks me about Raxla, I do not care. And the only reason I do not care at all is, one, because it's the same thing when I got sick of Asp Explorers. Because everyone was posting them all over the damn place on Reddit. But it's interesting here because there's a lot of just stuff that doesn't add up between Aegis, Blackflight, some of the systems that have been renamed. We got an audio bug. Ooh, what's that about? Hold on. It's the game, not me. There we go. Anyway, a lot of stories out here that don't make sense, and not all of them are Thargoid related. So one thing I always take into account is when things are renamed. We have another case in point. If anyone wants to go to, this is Black Flight related, but this is another Thargoid story all the way over here. And this was originally an IC sector name. This is a real constellation. IC is the what is IC? Index catalog for IRL astronomers. And this system was an IC system, then renamed to Sharon. A very interesting story takes place, and the name of what you will find there is very important to this name. This name is a village in East India, and the name of what is in there is very important to this renaming of this village, this seemingly who cares village that isn't really, you can't find it on the map anymore actually. You have to, you can't really find it on Google. It's not really named, it's like a defunct village. But anyway, so there's a lot out here that just kind of goes in circles, and not all of it's Thargoid. Some of it isn't, or some of it is, but the fact is we've got stories in and around between here dating all the way back to about 100 plus 200, 300 years ago. And the one story in Sharon is 3100, so that's a long way away. There's one last thing here. Oh, the Black Flight are also one of the only stories that ties the Pleiades all the way over to... I guess you can't type that in, but we all know where that is now. Black Flight is one of the only stories that connects the Pleiades Thargoid line to Colonia. There's a guy in the bubble who gets chased by the Black Flight all the way to Colonia. This man is tracked down before Colonia was really fully settled. So it's not like just, oh, well, now that there's this routing over here, we're going to go get this guy. These people do not stop of where they're going, regardless of what it is. So I'm going to give information for that story if anyone has an alt or anyone wants to go out there at some point. Cool story to follow up on. But these guys are pretty insane. If you have anything to do with anything that has a target on your back, you are X'd out, no matter where you go. And that story was relatively after Colonia only had like 1 or 2 systems, so it wasn't like, we had a lot of people at that time. So yeah, we have one more location we can all go to if we like, but really, that's a really long-winded explanation I was sitting on for the first 2 megaships there. And if anyone has any outstanding questions, go ahead, because I need to drink some water and I'm dying after not breathing for an hour with that speech. The next, oh my god, choking. The next location is very close. I might not make it. The next location is very close to us, so it's only like probably 1 jump or 2 jumps for most people, but anyone got any background information they want to ask about, or is that just, it's probably a lot that I've
You've been quite thorough.
Given out, yeah. So if that is so, no one on stream asking anything. If that is so, we will.
The unregistered comms beacons outside the stations are literally the psi beacons from StarCraft Grid War.
Where oh, it's talking.
Yeah, it has been for like the past 10 minutes.
See, I can't hear it because I'm babbling.
It hasn't quite matched up with what you posted.
Did it change?
I don't know if it's a bug or related, but every time I open the map, the galaxy map, it's putting me on the center star of Orion's belt.
Odd. 1 second. That's interesting. But 3-9. What is this? Hotel, Lima, India, Oscar. Okay, yeah. No, that's right. Well, at least we're on the same page now. I'm not sure what you were hearing earlier. Bravo, Hotel, India. Yep. What part was different? Because I believe you.
I think it might just me, because I was listening to that and everything else.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's changed this year, so in July when there weren't really any updates, so always interesting. I might come back and run through these again, to be honest. That's cool. That was cool timing to be done and have that chat for anyone who's never heard a unregistered comm speaking. So thank you, Crash. It's I got on a roll there eventually. It took me a minute to. It's hard to know where to start with this type of stuff sometimes. I mean, I had a whole thing written out and I was following it, but I just mean like never know exactly where to start when I'm going over 5 years worth of, because the earlier stuff involved player groups and some of their actions mattered. So the next place we're gonna go is Celaino. Celaino. Can never say that right. And that is not far. It's 26 light years away, and absolutely clusterfuck of carriers. So make sure to filter out carriers when you go in, because you're gonna be assailed by bull. Cool. I'm glad you were over there listening to that while I was unable to stop speaking at my own event, Scrabbles. I can't stop. There's so much information. That's the problem, because no one thing is just, oh yeah, here's this story, that was cool, later. There's very little in Elite that's like that, so anytime I start talking, I'm like, oh yeah, and this, and that. But it's good for the stream, fills it in. Now we just have to pray that my mic wasn't muted that whole time. No, it wasn't. Sure, someone would have told me over there. I hope the star I'm jumping to is fuelable. What?
I'm getting hyperdicted.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. I actually have fuel to get over here? In 2020? Should put a second fuel tank in this thing. I don't even, I can just keep it unfueled. Got the space.
It's just a single Cyclops.
You're gonna kill it in the time that we get over here?
It shut me down before I was able to shoot it, so it might just leave.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, it's out of here. Darn it.
Alright. The next one, we got another listening post here, but nothing really to see there that I remember. The next and last one for now is the relay station PSJ-17. And it's right up at the star. That's why I ended it at this one, because I'm like, well, the firing squad is pretty cool, and I can give a exposition there. I think I am seeing, I don't know who that is in the phantom above me. Oh, that's Dan, okay. Thought I was seeing a, what's their name, Scrabbles? They're really a big deal. And they give out shit builds that are questionable at times. Oh yeah, AXI, there we go.
Yeah. Those guys.
Those people. One or two of them, I don't know. I think there's a few. This is looking very, Atari 5C, Scrabbles.
Ah, yes.
That is really, someone asked me what my favorite system was the other day, and I'm like, ooh.
Is there a big boy there?
No. No. We're using our brains. We're thinking. Okay, what the? I'm here. I really hope everything has been recording thus far. Who saw that in the stream?
It's just now caught up to you right now.
I almost phased into the station.
Okay, well you're... Wouldn't be elite if we weren't mildly terrified of waking out to stationary objects. Did I have Pipsta systems there, or was I in engines for that? I panicked. Anyhow, here we are. Another pretty location. Just instinct at this point when FDev threw me a sideways look. So again, let's try and scan these in order, not for anyone's benefit other than it's just easier to have them in order when you're reading them yourself. I think this one has some inside, but I can't remember. It might not. I said that the last time. There's also the chance that some of them were outside, and then they moved them, or were out inside, and then they moved them outside because people couldn't fit. Oh, there's 5 here. I'm following your target, Scrabbles.
Just barely missed the station.
Someone is in there hammering away. Did you hear all that, like, knocking in there? Scrabbles in that last one?
Yeah.
Oh, here we are. Inside, guys. Oh my god. Anacondas? I'm sorry. No, that's not inside. I don't think it is it? Hold on.
It looks like it is.
Oh, it's inside. Yep.
Yep.
Rip anacondas. No, they might be able to get it, to be honest. I don't think they can get through the doorway here, but... Alright, Scrabbles, we have reached an impasse.
I want to go that way.
I want to go this way. There we have it. Alright, all anacondas, let me know what the hell you guys are going to do about this. I think you can fit? Okay, 1 anaconda at a time, please, though. 2 of you are trying to go in at the same time.
Go ahead, hey.
1 at a time, gentlemen.
Oh my god! This is so comical. Watching anacondas ham fist their way inside. Alright, and that anaconda was never seen from again. Alright, next vlog. Wow, where's 5? Okay, here we are. Up here. See, I wasn't wrong. I said that every ship can fit probably up to the anaconda. Alright, I'm gonna go back over to number 4 while everyone's still getting their logs, because I want to see any more anacondas come through this hole unless everyone's done.
It's an anaconda party in here.
No problem.
2 of us in here.
Did you get
Getting over there right now.
Did I get what, Scrabbles?
The 0 log?
Yes, I got 0 log first.
Good.
I should have... Yep, I have all 6.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Data, you're gonna have to spin it, don't you think?
You're gonna need to back up there. Try it again.
He's got it.
Retract
he's
your
got it.
landing gear. It's getting
Yep,
stuck.
he did the landing gear.
Good old landing gear. Thanks, landing gear.
He unwedged himself with his own feet. How about that?
Like a glove.
Alright, now that that's done, guys. That was comedic. I'm glad we came to this one. Alright, I assume most everyone's here and gotten theirs. I guess you guys were on 4, so I'll wait till you guys move over to 5 and then we'll start. I'll go ahead and at least mute Discord
I'm out
here.
of the way, moving to 5 now.
Okay, we'll start in about... Keep an eye on your clock on the top right. We'll start in like 30 seconds or so. Doesn't have to be exact, obviously. Lights are on. No one can hear me. And I'm going to mute stream now.
Command to Recon 6. Come in, Recon 6. Please respond. Sir, we lost contact with one of our recon ships. Last known location HIP 17746. Final transmission indicated an encounter of some kind. Recon 6 bugged out to Rally Point Echo, but it looks like they didn't make it. There's something else. We detected a signal that exceeds our language parameters. It was embedded in 6's last transmission. It's the same signal that we detected in Pleiades sector AB-W B2-4. Awaiting your orders. Acknowledge Black Flight 1-2. Mission is a go. Targeted survey vessel Victoria's Song. Security systems adjusted for your cover. Apprehend if possible for questioning at Overlook. Destroy if necessary. Command out.
Affirmative, Recon 2. Data received. Head to Overlook and await further orders.
Command to Black Flight 22. Regret to inform that survey ship Pandora suffered catastrophic systems failure. All hands lost. Please acknowledge. Roger, Command. Orders understood. No survivors. On intercept course. 2-2 out.
Sir, we've been monitoring the frequencies provided in the data package, and it looks like we found one located in the Merope system. The signal's slightly different from the others we've identified. Should I send a recon flight out to investigate? Awaiting orders.
A maintenance crew linked to our comms core has intercepted a foreign signal inside the civilian comms network they operate. Primary objective is to shut down the Zeta-12 communication hub being used by the company to decode the signal and gather all associated data. All signals to and from the station have been rerouted to our network so we can monitor their comms traffic. We'll pose as a team from their head office. Cover is the shutdown of the facility as part of an ongoing automation versus human workforce issue. This is a code red cleanup operation with zero tolerance for this data making it into the public eye. All steps are to be taken to ensure that nothing makes it off that station.
Some gross people, huh?
Yeah.
So this was the section of it all being revealed. The first time we ever even hear their voices. I don't exactly remember when this was in place. This isn't even one of their bases. This is just a relay station, so this is intercepting the comms that came through. But yeah, all the previous places we went to in order were on purpose, purposely in that order because they cover the Pandora, the Victoria's Song, the Zeta 12, and a couple things of note. In the beginning, if I can get my comms to work, on log 3, yeah, all of that jibber jabber there, all those numbers, and if you replay number 3 again really quick, you can just do it if you want now. I'm gonna do mine.
Affirmative recon 2, safe listed.
Main fuel tank low.
Head to overlook and await further orders.
So, number 3 holds a couple things. It, in the text message of that one, it indicates that there may be something encoded in message 3. And message 3 contains Morse code in that audio that you just heard. You would have to input it by hand. There's no way to actually get that. You would have to listen to it and put it in by hand. In Morse code, it gives a similar situation as that unregistered comms beacon we just listened to. The text before that, in number 3, or after, I guess, all that is another keyed Caesar cipher involving the same word in the numbers from the last place we were at, and using invaders as the key cipher. So if you put that in a keyed Caesar cipher, then you will put in the actual key itself, and you will get a decryption. If anyone is wanting to do that themselves on their free time, they're welcome to, because some pretty simple stuff, and can be a precursor if anyone's interested, because I'm sure in Odyssey we're going to be getting a lot of new things to figure out, and I would enjoy more people, even if it's not something they want to do on a daily basis all their time, just if they come across some weird chirping in an audio log somewhere or something, don't just throw it out the window. You might have something interesting there, so you're welcome to uncover that one. And if you tie those two together, the Morse code and the keyed cipher in there, you will get a location to go to, and you're welcome to go to that one after this or whatever day. So hold on to that log. These expire in 30 days, but now you know where to get them. And then number 1, also, if you just open number 1, don't have to play it, but they talk about Recon 6 and losing contact. You're more than welcome to go and visit that system as well. HIP 1774-6. And that is the the extra length of the Black Flight's story that does not have an ending. It mentions something else somewhere, and something we haven't located, if it's in the game at all, because that's always kind of one of the things with Elite, right, is you never fully know what's out there, what's added, what isn't, but go at it when you're bored, I guess. Don't make it your life's mission like some of these Raxla people do. But yeah, so that is our last stop. I have a whole long list of things you can visit out and around here to continue through the listening posts, and to continue through different stories out here, including the Black Flight, but kind of tie the whole area's history together. And if I don't know, anyone wants to chat, go ahead. I need to drink water again. I have real quick one question. Scrabble, had you ever been to any of these? Because we've been out here for eons and all over in between Nutari and the Pleiades sector with Simbad, so I couldn't remember if you've actually seen any of this or not. I think actually Scrabbles might have just gotten off. Oh no, he's still in voice. I know he got out. Maybe his game crashed or he just hopped off. Well, that's in stream as a question for you, Scrabbles, so Anyway, back to whoever was gonna say something there. I heard someone cheap for a minute there.
Well, I thought that this last one puts a nice bow on it.
Mm-hmm. An interesting, potentially lopsided bow, but yeah.
Yep.
The Black Flight, it's kind of hard to gather how interesting the story was in a live sort of sense, because they were always in the background for a very long time, and you'd get sprinkles here and there as the Pleiades was founded, as the barnacles were discovered, and as all this stuff kind of tied together out here. It's weird. It's a small area, and obviously they added things in as time went on, but not knowing what was on the surface, what put us in a weird spot. And even then, the Pleiades... Oh, I got this audio bug again. Whatever. The Pleiades sector is very large. If you go up, it breaks off at the Sinuef. At the top, actually, you'll notice the top area stops. So you got the Pleiades right here, and then the Sinuef up top, and right in the middle that stops the border is Overlook. And then if you go below, so that's, if we're in the middle of the Pleiades, basically, it's 100 up. Nearly, very neatly from here is almost exactly 100 light years. And I am going to try and click on this and stop this thing chattering. There we go. And then it actually goes really far down, and the Mel sector is included in all this. A lot of people go, okay, Pleiades sector, Thargoids, it's only here. Actually, the Mel 22 sector has a lot of superstructures in it, Thargoid superstructures, and if you'll come down, the lowest one under here is about almost 200 light years down, and that's not counting, you know, the box size for over here. So we got about a 300 by, well, around 300 light year perimeter, give or take, depending on where you are, and it breaks off into the Sinuef sector, which we all know the Sinuef sector is in partly Thargoids. It reaches, or Guardians, it reaches all the way below the bubble, the Sinuef, and then all the way, obviously, way over here. So the Sinuef is huge. But the Mel 22, there's a few hips, and then the, where am I? Here we are. The Pleiades sector all contain Thargoid stuff. So if anyone, I believe even the Hind sector out here, the Stewart, what is it? This somebody's name out here. Stavs. I don't remember. Oh yeah. Striv's Lost Sector. This one. Striv's Lost Sector also. So this is a big area. It's not just this little nebula. So I think part of the reason that some things we're still missing out here, that we assume to still be missing, is this is massive, right? And even now with the probes, it's the same idea as the bubble. The generation ships go years without us finding one, and then we find another. Well, not years, but they go about a year, and then we find another. And, you know, that you would think, oh, it's just a small area, everyone traffics it. Well, if we're not finding everything over here, you know, I don't believe the Pleiades is fully dry. And furthermore, so many people have already explored out here. A lot of the people in canon don't really feel like going back through these areas and verifying, all right, you know, with the new probe, all right, did we miss anything? Is this here? Is this that? Because there's already people who have upwards of 500 locations found in one, you know, of one particular organic type. So it's not something everyone in canon wants to run back through. And again, this large area, so keep that in mind if anyone decides to go hunting. I believe even the Taurus Dark region has some. The closest area it stops is around about, make sure I have it, so this is the Simbad bubble. It's huge. We own like 50 some odd systems in this area. In between...
heads up.
Yeah.
Hate seems to be trying to claim the bounty on Chig, and system security is going to be showing up.
Hold on, let's see. Hate, I don't see where Chig is. Oh, there we are. Hey, you're small enough, Chig, to run through the holes if you don't hit them. But I'll keep us on the view of this while I'm finishing chatting. But yeah, keep in mind that the Pleiades has a lot of area out here where Thargoids are. Looks like he's not claiming that bounty today. GG Chig. Anyhow, go back to the galaxy map. That was thank you for pulling me away. That was humorous. This galaxy map. Come on, man. Okay. So yeah, Taurus to right here at the Hades sector, AQ-Y D20 or D81, and you'll notice that's right at the border of the Perseus constellation. I believe you can still kind of hit the Merope bubble wall here. This is the Merope bubble is basically the area of Thargoid influence. As you get this way, you'll actually be in the range of Merope and be able to be hyperdicted and all that. And then of course we have the Witch Head now, which never found anything black flight out here, but it is, if they already know about where everything was, I've often wondered what's out here, but this area has been trafficked so much that if it's somewhere, just like with the Pleiades being 100 down, it could be anywhere in this big area. But again, I'm not saying there's anything very specifically there to go spend your entire life's endeavor on, but it's still worth knowing things are around, because this is only a couple hundred light years, not a couple, this is only 100 light years from the Col 70 sector permit wall, which is where the Thargoids have a huge something or other in this area and up in the Altats area. So anyway, that is the general gist for these guys. That I forgot how nicely wrapped up this area, or this particular relay station wraps the story up, because the Pandora song I don't even remember listening to, so this is a run through the past for me, exploring some as well. But yeah, anything else you guys got? If everyone wants to head back on the carrier, they're welcome to go back to the Perseus place we were in, and everyone can get back on the carrier and hop back home. But if anyone doesn't want to, who cares? They can stay if they like. It's not that big of a deal. I'm sure most everyone was out jumping me as it was, so I'm sure
Sure.
they can navigate home on their own. But yeah, if anyone wants to chat during my time heading back, they're welcome to.
Well, thanks for taking us through it all and wearing out your voice, man. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Scrabbles, I asked you a question and you evaporated as soon as I asked it.
Power glitched and shut everything off.
Had you in all our time being out here and being in between the Nutari bubble to save Simbad, had you ever been into any of these or listened to any of them, or did you even know about the Black Flight? Because you've been playing for a long time, but
I know about the Black Flight. I've accidentally seen one of their ships, and it wasn't until later that you told me what the hell it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd only visited that big communications array, but I didn't actually scan anything with it.
Okay. Yeah. There's only... And this is going to be in the thing, but since we're here... Hold on, I'm going to Super Cruise Assist on the star, so it orbits me. Hopefully it doesn't cook me, because it does that sometimes. And I'm going to open up... I'm going to open up one of the wikis, because there's a location I actually want you guys to go to that the only place you can still see the Black Flight ships themselves. Let's see. This is really buried, so if anyone wants to chat or whatever, they can remove push to talk or whatever.
I will add, a Corvette does not fit inside that station, but I was able to scan it from the outside.
Cool. You just press your nose to the outside?
Yep.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
Chid, no hard feelings. I'm broke. Need some cash.
Karu said you visited the Zeta Hub before, but you never knew it went deeper. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have specific dates on these locations, unfortunately. I have the general area, or general time period, but there's so much time that went by. Trying to find this system for you guys. Ah, found it. Nomai. Here we go. Go. Go here. I'll put this elsewhere, but this is an interesting system that it still exists and the Black Flight are still active in the system with no real reason why. If someone is in need of meta-alloys and they do not feel like heading all the way out to the Pleiades, there are meta-alloys here. Right next to Delphi. This is the Nomai system, Nommai. And if you look on the stream, look how close that is to Delphi. Let's see, we're 383, 400. So very, 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 very close. I'm gonna go ahead and fuel scoop really quick, make sure I'm not running out. But that is a very, very close section, and there's meta alloys there. Why? I don't remember. I don't even remember that place being on the in the story at all, right? Like I don't remember that being talked about. I don't remember that being in a listening post. It's just one day just people passed by and it was there. They were there. So there's an unregistered comms beacon that goes off the top of the hour and a convoy beacon and crash site, or not crash site, salvageable USS. So if anyone wants to go there, have at it as well, but I'll have all these written down.
I'm sorry, I've lost track of your carrier. I bookmarked it and now I can't find the bookmark.
System is 42 space N space Persei. Persei. Bookmarks can be finicky.
Thanks, yeah, I have that. I can see the bookmark, it just isn't in the list.
Mm-hmm.
Fun times.
Yeah. No biggie. Yeah, not a lot of people were running cutters and corvettes at that time period, so it's interesting that the corvette has trouble fitting in some of those areas. McPherson, did you happen to ask a question earlier? I feel like I thought I heard your thing light up. May or may not be there. Everyone's been in and out of their seat tonight.
You want to get into the absurdity of the name mycoid virus?
Probably not until I end the stream. Probably not until I end the stream. Especially since my voice is like keeling over.
That was really good, A1. I've been playing the game for, I don't know if it's been 2 or 3 years now and haven't heard anything about the Black Flight before, so that was really cool.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite stories, and especially there's probably another 5 or 6 to 7 places you could go with them, or to see their stuff. So, but it's a very interesting way they had it set up, because even as the story was going, we didn't know, and it was intended for people to kind of not know. And if you just went to that facility, the 2 last ones, the relays, you'd be like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I don't really know what any of this means, but that at least the firing squad one was cool, right? But those survey vessels and the other things that I'll put in the list that lead up to those 2, including the Galnet post, which you can't access unless you're on the Elite website. Those 2 give like context along the way, and like I said, if you look, the reason you wouldn't really have a background for the Black Flight is they're not even in the they don't even start in the Pleiades sector. So you've got this long line of story, and then you've got Naomi up here, or Naomi, and then you've got Colonia. So it goes all over, and I'd be very interested to see where else they are, because part of me feels like there's a decent amount that isn't all the way done, but I've never done one on the Black Flight, and I feel like with most people that come to the game, just like how magazine headlines operate, like something new releases Thargoid, something new releases Guardian. It's just these big taglines, and people really only know, there's Thargoids and okay, Guardians, and what do you do when there's aliens? Usually, I guess you shoot them, and that's kind of fun, and humanity's being attacked, and okay, cool. Like, that's all well and good if that's what you want to do, but there's a difference in this game where no one is the good person. No one is the moralistic, even if they are doing quote-unquote air quotes, huge air quotes, the right thing. So it's much more deeper as far as the writing, and I feel like the writing team gets some of their stuff passed over nowadays when people just jump in the game and, all right, there's aliens, and I just read or watched a video that showed me how I can shoot them, and that's it. So I always enjoy doing these events for that reason.
Makes it a bigger galaxy.
What did you say,
Hey,
Cruz?
this is Flynn. I've been in and out. But are there any other storylines throughout the game that are even close to this, that are interesting, that a beginning player like me would know about or should be looking for?
Yeah, basically everything that's been added, to be honest. There's about 14 story arcs that Elite Dangerous has. All of them are separate at different time periods between 300 to present day, 300 years ago to present day. And I do not have enough fuel to jump that, so hold on. And they all span tons of different directions, as far as Colonia, past Colonia, the other way to the edge of the galaxy in the Formidine Rift. There's a ton of one-off stories, which are really fun too, if you want something that you just want to hear something and kind of, before you're done, hop off, go listen, and then, get off the game. There's a lot of one-off stories that are cool sci-fi things that, just fun stories. You never know really when they're gonna mean something down the line, which is fun. But yeah, there's a lot, so that'd be a long laundry list for me to say now, so I won't. But I'll give you, definitely point you in the direction, or even. So after this event, what I usually do is everyone that was involved gets to be invited to my little private Discord. It's between Canon and I juxtapose a lot of the information that they have, or we have, I don't know why I say it like I'm not a part, but that we have, and kind of put it in a small area, because the Canon Discord is fun and all, but it's if you're new and do know nothing, it's just text lines with spectrogram images everywhere. So yeah, I'll invite everyone who was here, like I've done with every other voice acted Lour tour, to my private Discord, and what that has is an Eclipse story section plus a ongoing research section for the current stories. But what I'm gonna also add to what Flynn said is all the current like header stories, and I think Hate actually had mentioned if I could put in the constellation stories, that because FDev kind of want to encourage people to find some of these things rather than just dropping in the middle of the ocean of nowhere. So a lot of the stories, like tonight's, all start in the different sections of either the Zodiac or other parts of constellations in the galaxy. So I've been doing a 3-year-long project of mapping the in-game constellations, because you can use the IRL cartographic data, how they're cataloged, and type those in to get the same system, just the same system. So like, you know, if a system's named Paul or whatever, it also has, and it's a real star, it'll also have its real life catalog counterpart, and if you type that system in, it takes you to Paul. So I'm gonna put a long laundry list of all of the starts that have ever happened in Elite as far as story, the 14 major story branches, and then people can follow those along in their own time. And I'll do an event here or there on some of them, so you know, people can have someone to follow them along, because it's fun to look at stuff as you go. But some of them, like the Black Flight, you wouldn't really understand why it was important if you didn't know that this was when player groups and the in-game powers were all trying to expand into the Pleiades, and why people were getting gunned down. But yeah, so long-winded explanation. I can invite you all to that, and then I'll have a little section that people can go through for that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, because as a relatively new player, the mechanics and all that, I enjoy it, but I don't appreciate the stories behind it.
Yeah.
So hearing that there is one, or that there's many of them, actually is entertaining in a way that I haven't seen in the game yet.
Yeah, there's so for the stories, there's probably over a few hundred like locations to be going for them. That's all of them, so not stories that are unique, but just story locations. It's a few hundred. And then if you're interested in going to, you know, biological, xenological, or anomaly locations, which also have their own kind of stories here and there, there's in canon right now, I was looking at the API not long ago, we are up to a whopping 25,000 sites tracked via our canon API. So I imagine that's somewhere like, you know, 25, 30 some odd terabytes of information across the galaxy that we have notated that people have found. So there's a lot of content to go through the game in whatever section of the galaxy you're in, which is always nice.
Well, it's funny because if you went on the Elite Dangerous forums, you might think there are no stories in this game at all.
Yep. Exactly.
Nothing but complaints about a lack of story.
Exactly.
Well, it's not exactly FDev's fault that people are blind.
Yeah, it's a risky. I think they get some flack for a lot of no reason for a lot of things. Like, it's a risky-er way to throw the story into the game, but at the same time, if you want an organic way of, you know, things happening, that's how it's going to be. I think it's really compounded now that we haven't had any, you know, major events led by FDev in a long time, but people really just hop into this game, and it's really funny because you can tell what people want out of this game when they get really vicious, because I'll have constant talks to people that play No Man's Sky, or I like No Man's Sky a lot. I even play Star Citizen. They're all well and dandy outside of probably Star Citizen, but people say things like, well, No Man's Sky has oceans and weather and atmosphere and you can walk around and da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, it does. Notice how none of that would... how when you're walking through a superheated rainstorm every 5 seconds, notice how that probably wouldn't happen? Yeah, it's almost like it's easy to add a lot of that stuff when, I don't know, you're not trying to go for realism. So, Elite has this weird situation where you want to drop people into a realized world that's at least 1-to-1 because you're wanting to follow that, and then you're wanting to add in story that's also based in reality. I've listened to Braven talk for a long time about the bio, which I should send you if I can find it in Scrabbles. The actual he's the people he spoke to in making the Thargoids realistic or plausible as non-carbon based life forms are, you know, a ton of bio, like PhD people. So even in stuff like that isn't up front, there's so much detail going into the back. And if you're someone who, now the reason I brought up No Man's Sky there is that the way people want stuff added to the game, they don't care if it's, you know, has any weight to it. They just want to get into the game, fly around, look at some water, look at a plant, and say, whoop-de-doo, I'm here. And that's great. I like No Man's Sky. I've got like 300, 500 hours in it. I don't know. That's fine. But when you come into Elite, it's not meant to be something you just pop into and the game happens. It's meant to be a very, you know, something like you as a person, you know, go walk out your front door and, you know, explore around. And I think that's one of the neat things about this game is that one of the innate things humankind has is the need or want to see something or explore something that no one has ever seen before. And unfortunately, we're kind of robbed of that in the modern day, that innate instinct, because, well, we've seen everywhere, and, you know, most places are locked by governments and territories. You can't just go out and explore something interesting and something that maybe, you know, people might not have found. There's obviously still a lot of mysteries and things hidden on our planet, but you can't just, you know, you live downtown New York, you're kind of you're not going to do that. So Elite offers the advantage of a world where you can walk out the door and, you know, walk over this border that isn't there and is just a figment of whatever the government said or whoever, and go out there and figure it out. So you can really tell by the people who want stuff like, you know, why isn't stuff like Odyssey been in Elite from the day one when No Man's Sky did it? Well, you can tell that person isn't really interested in any weight behind anything. They're just kind of interested in hopping in, you know, putting their headset on and teleporting around everywhere, or they're just interested in, you know, going around really quickly and casually seeing everything and being done, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can tell you've got the wrong person on those forums and the wrong person, you know, complaining when there's complaints like that. There's a lot of justified complaints about Elite, but I'm just saying that specifically, if people are saying, you know, why isn't it all out in the front? Why do I have to do anything? Why do I have to even, you know, apply any sort of thought behind it? Why isn't it just there? You know, obviously that's not for everyone anyway, so, but maybe in the least FDev could do is add, hey, this is not necessarily for you, but, you know, don't want to bite into your sales too much, because I think Elite's another thing where you turn it on and you don't know if you're going to like it, and then all of a sudden you're in love with it. Some guy I know who just plays COD was like, yeah, that looks really cool when I watch it, but I don't really care. All right, you want to try? Hey, I can't, 3 days later, hey, I can't stop playing this. So it's a weird game that has a lot of weird issues, but a lot of weird strengths, and I'm really just surprised it exists in the modern day when everything's about, you know, this is kind of the backwards of the way most games function these days, that I think worked really well back when, but it was on the fringe of it released at a good time, I think. But yeah, it's odd. It's odd when it comes to people not knowing that there's any sort of story or anything in the game.
Yeah, it was a lot of what you just said reminded me of the same thing what happened with Galnet, of complaints that stories led to dead ends, and it was like, now it's completely dead because we're not getting any Galnet. So then again, I'm wondering if that was an easy excuse because they didn't have a lot extra planned. So
yeah, well, there wasn't really meant to be this big year gap, because if you'll notice, when the thing stopped would have been an update cycle, and then you can't, if you want to, well, we're supposed to get out on our feet and, you know, serve some chilled ammonia in teacups to the Thargoids. Well, we can't really do that now, so, you know, they did do interstellar initiatives. Things didn't just not happen. I mean, we colonized the Witch Head, and that we lost Palin for like a week or so. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know. You could not engineer G5 thrusters. He was like offline because he was being attacked by the Thargoids, and he was leaving, trying to get away. And if we had left that alone, there's the chance he would have died. Obviously, they would have replaced him with Chloe. But if we had left it alone, the end goal was going to be that we would not have him in the bubble. Only buddy we would have would be Chloe, who's, you know, out in the Witch Head. So things happened. What were you gonna say there, Scrabbles?
I was gonna say that there is a chance for him to actually die.
Yeah. So things happened, but it is odd. Like I've been kind of mildly irritable here and there. Maybe earlier last year, like I don't really want to play right now because everything just feels out in the open. And the worst part is there's still a lot more to find, but I you know, there's still stuff in game right now that's still out there. I remember Sandra a long time ago talking something about like 75% of what we put in the game is in the bubble, and you guys, you know, I definitely haven't seen all of it. And that was not many years back. And they obviously aren't taking things away. So there's still a ton of stuff to find. It's just one of those things where you need one narrative running that directs people, and then give other people who are fine to just be on their own. And I think when they add that again, things will be better. But you do kind of need one or two going at the same time, because I don't always want to just follow, you know, the air or the absence thereof trying to find stuff. I like to have a little bit of concrete stuff. That's why I go out sometimes when I'm bored and go find a new organic site in an hour or something, now that I've gotten the ways to find them down pat, 12,000 light years away from the bubble. But I'm probably going to go do the Guardians very, very soon. There's a new bubble that was found like a year ago, but only a very small select few ruins have been found there. We don't know the size of the bubble yet, so there's still concrete things that you can go and see that we already know about, and there's still vague things, but you do kind of need something narrative going. And I definitely 100% think FDev, even if it's not at the start of Odyssey and they're planning on doing something else, they are getting it drilled into their ears by all these podcast people talking to them, and, you know, the community managers and whatnot. So nothing isn't, and then we've got, who knows what's going on Thursday. There was something about Galnet for this Thursday, I guess tomorrow, now that it's past 12 a.m. for me, but yeah, things will happen again, but I agree with you, Dan, on that there need to be one thing people can follow, and then another thing that isn't, you know, out in the air, and another thing that isn't just cryptography or cryptograph stuff. So
yeah, I wasn't trying to so much say is that we need to have something going on all the time, because there's hundreds of hours of content. Like I said, I've been playing the game for years, and I am still following along storylines. Haven't been to a Guardian site yet. You know, there's tons and tons of things like that, but, you know, just things like Galnet to drop Easter eggs. It might have been, you know, one in every 10 or 15 that there's maybe a little Easter egg that people are still going through old Galnet, mining it to try to find hints and and little Easter eggs or little nuggets of something they can go track down. And it's like, it just was such a pain to hear, oh, I wasted 3 hours trying to track down this thing and found it wasn't true, or there was no story connected to it. It's like, did you have fun?
Yeah, it is
You spent
weird.
3 hours playing a game, right?
Yeah, it is weird. It's like,
that's what I miss. So
a little a little pitch to that is two things that are really short. Is one, it is odd when people, just humans in general, they go and do something that they're interested in the end goal of, and then they say, well, I didn't find it there. They ruled something out. They did actually accomplish something, but still in their mind of being completely goal-oriented, they just wasted their time, and I never really understand that. But outside of that, the amount of flack canon has gotten over the years is incredible. Like, we were hated for a long while, and you would think that's odd. But, it was because things would come out, and you'd hear in the news, canon research, blah, 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 blah. Canon research, blah, 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 found this and that. And what was happening was, the way FDev put the puzzles in, you would take the old information that you figured out, apply it to the new stuff, and then they'd adjust the puzzle so there was still something new to it. It wasn't just, alright, if you learn the first one, then you'll know all the others. It was, you learn the first one, take that information, move it to the next thing, and then expound upon that and figure out what the new puzzle is. So if you have a long history of doing that with 1,000 people, it's pretty quick to, figure things out, especially with the tools that we have that I would be way too long to go into. The amount of tools of being able to see commanders through a web page on a out of game mock-up of the planetary body we're on, so we can all spread out and track survey it by eye quickly, all kinds of wacky stuff, and that's makes things very efficient. But on the flip side of that, of what you said of people wasting their time, we got so much flack about, well, FDev are feeding canon information to find things, and just people who just didn't really care about the game or the story. I just think they wanted to be the one to find it and get clout, elite clout, or whatever you want to call it. So that was a weird that's a weird thing too that I remember happening that you reminded me of there, Dan. I don't know if you were around for that, Scrabbles. Do you remember that? People like wanting to gank canon permanently?
Yeah, I remember I was playing when you guys figured out and triangulated the system from that trailer video, but I didn't know the whole story behind the black flight and everything else that led up to that. I didn't know that part of the story. I just heard that it's like, yeah, the canon guys are just amazing. That basically we've got to put in these puzzles, these stories to try to trick canon and try to stump them for just a few hours, But that's the high level of the player that they got, that FDev's got to cater to, but then also the person that wants something.
Yeah.
To be able to read an article in Galnet and go out and find something unique. So without any real input. So yeah, it's a tough position to be in. So
yeah, they've done a good job of it up until, like I said, last year when they kind of went cold. And I think the extra anger about it in the recent years really just with carriers coming out, everyone wants something to dig into again, and it does feel a bit dry, but people are weird. That's really the end of the sentence there, isn't it? In almost everything.
Yep.
People are weird.
That's true.
No escaping that.
Yeah. It got to the point, I remember FDev being scared, like, not scared, but they would, I remember a community manager saying, yeah, we're gonna put out this trailer, but we decided to take a couple hours extra to make sure that you guys don't see anything that you can figure out being the stream. They weren't mad, it was just funny the way they were wording it. It was like, there were many times they would put out a trailer, and they go, oh wow, they saw that in the background and figured that out. Well, let's alter it. Oh my god, they heard audio, and they picked up that audio was the radio audio you would get if you put a transponder in space, and it picked up the sound of a M-class star. They figured out what star it was based on the audio. Okay, well, I guess we won't do that. Alright, I guess we'll... There were so many times they had to alter trailers down the line because we were figuring shit out through the trailers. It was just really silly.
It's like, you get a blank screen.
Yeah, just black screen with noises. Well, maybe not even that. Just black screen and, like, impact font.
a really poorly cut out picture of a leg.
Yeah. Alright guys, we're done doing trailers. We're done with you people. They weren't ever mad. They thought it was amazing. It was just they would try really hard. You would think you'd have this great puzzle, and then here comes one dude taking 4 stars and somehow finding the exact position in the galaxy that it is. Even threw me for a loop because I was only on the Guardian verification team for a long while. I wasn't into the whole level of, you know, turn your head sideways and upside down, and then there's your entire cartographic map filled in game. So it was interesting, to say the least. But the carrier has made it. I picked the wrong Python. Oh well. The carrier has made it back to Husang. And any other things anyone wants to add, I'm perfectly fine just sitting here. So if someone has a thought or something they want to run by.
I was just gonna add thank you for doing it. I thought it was really cool. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, not a problem. I'll definitely be running another one, maybe pretty soon, depending. And if the loose screws or whoever is interested, I'll run it for them if they want. So I've got a good 7 or so of these I've been sitting on for a good number of years.
It was really cool, dude. I appreciate you.
Yeah. I suppose I will end the stream, but I'm going to wait here, mute myself, see if anyone else in the stream has any other questions.
I'll echo the thoughts of everybody else. The parts that I caught I thought were really interesting. So thanks for doing this for us.
Like I said, I've been wanting to do one for a while. Couldn't figure what groups to do it with. And I was like, well, this one's kind of a short one. The previous ones I have done were multiple length days, so it was, some have been upwards of 4 days. So, but I was like, you know what? Let's go slow and see what everyone thinks of this one, and then we'll do a more in-depth one next time. So hopefully Twitch is being nice. Could you repeat all of it, please? Sure. So it all started with Obsidian. No. Hopefully the VOD, as far as repeating all of it, comes through. I know Twitch sometimes likes to sneeze on your recorded videos, but if the VOD comes through, I'll be able to download it, and it'll be viewable here. I can put timestamps in it. I can clip certain parts. People can comment in the VOD. If anyone has any questions and they come to the VOD, assuming it works after I close this, you can type comments in while the VOD's running, even though it's passed, and it will put that comment in. So if anyone has any questions or anything, I can run through that and answer them. But if anyone has any other questions, it can obviously just be in the Loose Screws chat, or I think we only had 3 or 4 out of Simbad or something. I do not know. It looks like around about that. So late night for them. But anyway, thanks everyone for running out here and listening to me lose my voice. So I'm gonna end the stream now. Let's see here. Probably put on some music, let it coast a minute. If anyone has anything in chat, because I know there are good 15 people in here.